All right, welcome folks to Cloverdale City Council meetings. We're going to call the meeting to order at 6 p.m. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. All right, do a quick roll call. I see all council members are present. Do we have any conflict of interest declarations? Seeing none?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I think 3 of us do at least.
Oh, yeah, we do for
L&L district.
on the L&L district, which is item, where are we at here? Excuse me, let me get up to item H1. We will have the Vice Mayor and Councilmember Marquez live in Zone 2. They will be recusing themselves for the reading of that. And I live in Zone 3, and I will be recusing myself for the reading of that proclamation, and the Vice Mayor will take over from that. All right. Any agenda review changes or deletions?
Yes, Mayor. Item E1 will be moved to April 22nd due to Eric Poland's illness.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's move into B, public comments. Any person wishing to speak on an item not listed on the agenda may do so at this time. Pursuant to the Brown Act, the City Council is not allowed to consider issues or take action on any item not listed on the agenda. 3 minutes will be allotted to each speaker. Also, let's go ahead and keep that at 3 minutes. I see we've got a lot of people. We want to be respectful of everybody and let them have their time to speak also. So let's open public comment. Do we have anybody from the public wishing to comment? Okay.
I'm here today to ask...
Could you please state your name for the record, please? Turn the mic on and state your name for the record.
Angela Cordova.
Thank you.
I'm here today to ask several serious questions that deserve clear public answers. First, I want to address the 100 Asti project where the city funding for this Esmeralda project is coming from when the Asti Road project still hasn't been completed. What accounts are you using? What priorities are being set, and why has Asti Road not been finished before new projects are moving forward? Not to mention Baumgartner is in tow. Second, I'm requesting transparency regarding the selection process for the realtor used in the city's most recent property purchase. What criteria were used? Who else was considered, and why was Eric Terreri selected? Related to that, why was Ron Pavelka giving you tours at the Boys and Girls Club, each one of you council members, and I believe city manager, when he was not the realtor at the time? And why was there an expectation of him being compensated? What official role, if any, did Pavelka have in that transaction? These circumstances raise reasonable questions about the nature of the relationships between the city, Pavelka, and Terreri. I'm asking the city to clearly explain how decisions were made and whether all actions complied with city policy and state law. As you know, it's not acceptable for community members who speak critically about Esmeralda or city leadership to be subjected to intimidation, harassment, bullying, or personal attacks. Public participation is a protected right. Disagreement should never be met with retaliation. As you know, I prevailed in the school board fiasco. Don't repeat that, because that looks like where we're headed. I am especially concerned about Eric Terreri using records obtained through the former school trustee, Preston Addison, to personally attack or discredit only because I spoke up against Esmeralda. Terreri's actions are not only illegal, but they'll lead to criminal charges. Harassment itself is a crime. Looks like the city has co-signed him on that. Using sealed records for malicious purpose violates the intent of expungement laws. He is setting me up for filing charges for stalking, harassment, and defamation crimes. Weaponizing these records for harassment crosses a clear legal line, to which I'll be filing a police report with Cloverdale PD. If it's not properly handled, I'll go to the sheriff's department and then the district attorney's office. Unfortunately, Eric's behavior is a bad reflection for Devin and Esmeralda coming to our city with their rainbows and unicorn fantasy world, trying to smokescreen us all. What's the backdoor promise to Tereri? To be Esmeralda's listing realtor? After the development, why would Eric be so hell-bent on attacking community members who do not agree with their narrative, your narrative, or his own narrative? These records were accessed and used improperly. That's a serious matter that will be addressed. Eric Tereri has no business, influence, involvement, anything with the city business, other than being what? A consultant, a constituent?
Angela, can we wrap it up?
What?
You're up over your 3
The
minutes.
Rotary, the local business owners, members of the chamber, the list goes on. They can barely tolerate him. I want to say this clearly. Transparency, accountability, and respect for the public, they're not optional. If there are no backroom deals, no promises of future listings, and no conflicts of interest, then the city and Esmeralda should have no issue answering these questions fully on the record. And I'm asking for the facts and the documentation and accountability, not your narratives, not your distractions, or your silence that you're used to.
Angela, you need to wrap it up. We need to give everybody 3 minutes, please.
That's fine. See,
Okay.
there's one difference between Eric and I. I don't give a fuck,
Okay.
and I'm not going to tolerate it.
Also,
So the
let's-
city needs to be held accountable for their poor
Thank
decisions.
you for your time, Angela, and if we're going to start using those, let's have respect for the people in the crowd. Thank you very much for your comments. Any other comments? Okay, I'm seeing none. Oh, Jennifer Sullivan. I want to reiterate, we have 3 minutes. We have a lot of people, and we need people to give people a chance, and let's be respectful of people. Please, no profanity.
Hello. Jubal was kind enough to give me his time. Is it okay if I go a little bit over this one time?
No, we have 3 minutes per person. If Jubal wants to speak, he can have his 3 minutes also.
Can I have somebody read then the rest of my statement?
Yes, you can.
Thank you. Can you restart the clock? Okay. My name is Jennifer Sullivan. I live in Cloverdale. From what I can find, Cloverdale has not required a fresh project-level environmental impact report for a housing or senior living proposal since the 2009 AVR EIR. That was 17 years ago. That was also the last time that Cloverdale comprehensively updated its general plan. A city's general plan serves as a long-term constitution or blueprint for the physical development, guiding decisions on land use, housing, infrastructure, and environmental quality. It sets a vision for the community's future, aligning growth with public values and legal requirements to ensure sustainable and organized development. So what does this mean, and how does the city and council, how have they approved all of these new developments? Since 2009, Cloverdale appears to have approved developments largely through piecemeal tools rather than EIRs. The shortcut tools have been mitigated negative declarations, initial studies, addenda, zoning changes, design review, subdivision maps, and phased entitlements. The city has relied on an aging 2009 planning framework while approving newer projects under narrower review paths. When a city handles growth this way for all these years, the risk is not just one project. The risk is that each project looks manageable in its own file, while combined burden on roads, emergency access, water, drainage, wastewater, and public services become easier to miss or understate. CEQA's own framework is explicit that an EIR is required when the cumulative impacts may be significant and a project's contribution is cumulatively considerable. What becomes harmful is the accumulation. Handled this way, growth does not just change Cloverdale on paper. It slowly erodes the quality of life residents already have and are trying to protect. Piecemeal approvals do not protect Cloverdale's quality of life. They put it at risk, then force residents to live with the consequences. Residents experience these consequences not as one dramatic event, but as worsening traffic, infrastructure, strain, higher service pressure, harder evacuation planning, tighter water margins, and the slow erosion of daily quality of life. This is how cumulative effects work and is exactly the kind of issue that CEQA's cumulative impact provisions are meant to bring to surface. Environmental review is not some radical new idea. President Nixon signed into federal law NEPA in 1970, creating the Environmental Impact Statement process, and Governor Reagan signed California's version, CEQA, the same year. Mary Ann, would you read for me? Oh, sure. Would you? Since they won't let me.
Thank you, Jennifer, for wrapping up 3 minutes.
Yeah.
If you can also state your name for the record.
Where did you leave off?
I'm going to start the timer now. Unless you feel like being nice.
Mary Ann Brigham, here. I'm going to read this,
Where's the microphone?
but it is not mine.
Who's got the mic up there?
Where's the little thing? She's going to help.
Would you like me to start the timer over? I know.
It's right here.
Here you go.
Thank you, appreciate it. Okay,
Environmental review.
that's, you already said that, though.
I did, you're right.
Yeah, but a thorough EIR does not just regulate a project. It gives a city and the public information it may not otherwise have, especially about cumulative impacts, traffic, evacuation, infrastructure, water demand, and how one project interacts with others. It forces the city to look at the whole system, not just one proposal at a time. Esmeralda is now being advanced through an addendum approach tied to a 209 EIR prepared for a very different project. That should concern everyone. Cloverdale is being asked to absorb 2 major South End developments without the level of environmental review the public would reasonably expect for cumulative impacts of this scale. These impacts are real. Think our roads are bad now? Think Esmeralda will pay for all the city's woes? Esmeralda by itself is significant. It is the largest development in Cloverdale's history. Combined with Baumgartner, it becomes something much larger. And this is happening even though the city has already identified weaknesses on the south end in its own infrastructure assessment. I also cannot ignore the deeper history here. I still do not understand how the city decided in 2004 that a still contaminated former wood treatment site was appropriate for residential land use in the first place. That decision deserves scrutiny, not blind reliance. At minimum, the public deserves a transparent explanation of how a site with that history becomes the foundation for Esmeralda. As a geography major at UC Berkeley, she took a course in rangeland management. It was in this class that she learned about a concept known as carrying capacity. The idea that wise ranchers know the land can only sustain so much, and that capacity changes with conditions. In wet years, more grass grows. In dry years, it does not. Smart ranchers do not stock their land based on best case year. They plan for the bad year, the lean year, the uncertain year, because if they do not, overgrazing happens and damages the land itself. Cloverdale should be thinking the same way. Our community has a carrying capacity too, especially when it comes to water, infrastructure, evacuation, and cumulative growth. If rainfall fluctuates, water supply fluctuates. If conditions are uncertain, responsible planning means leaving room for that uncertainty, not approving major development based on optimistic assumptions. If ranchers know better than to overstock cattle on their land in uncertain conditions, Cloverdale should know better than to overcommit its future based on outdated general plan and use of an EIR from 2009. In 2026 for Esmeralda and continue with piecemeal approvals. The benefit of a real EIR is clarity and public involvement that addendums do not guarantee.
This is the last sentence.
Please step back, look at the
Hey,
whole
Mary Ann,
picture.
could you wrap it up? You're at your 3
I
minutes.
am. I'm on the last sentence.
One sentence.
And require the level of review this scale of change demands, which means require Esmeralda to do a new environmental impact report.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Let's move on.
All right, do we have? Okay. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Mary Ann, for your comments. Do we have any other public comments? Remember, keep them to 3 minutes.
That's not my comment.
Okay.
I read her comment.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Thank you, Jennifer, for your comment with assistance.
Good evening, Council. I just walked into the meeting, so I apologize. I did not get to hear that full comment, but I believe that's Ms. Jennifer and Ms. Mary Ann, if I'm
Could
not
you
mistaken.
state your name for the record, please?
Yes, my name is Adina Flores, and I believe that was Ms. Jennifer and Ms. Mary Ann, and I've had the pleasure of speaking with them both. And the reason I drove an hour here today is because your community members have come to me quite often because they're upset to see a small, tight-knit place that they grew up in and that they love change in front of their eyes. And so they're scared to say anything because they think they'll face retaliation with their businesses and what have you. So they're asking me to be their voice. And so I saw Ms. Jennifer bring forward critical information regarding the Esmeralda project online, and she was attacked by one of your councilmen. And I didn't think that was appropriate. So your community expresses legitimate concerns that echo my own. And I think we need to pause. Before we look at environmental data, we need to look at the money. So I've sent you all articles that I wrote. So I just find it interesting that the developer behind this project, Mr. Michael Yarney, was working as the advisor to Gavin Newsom's office while Mr. Steve Kawa was the chief of staff in Newsom's office. So these gentlemen go way back with development deals. So I'm seeing a lot of outsiders with money that are politically connected coming in to a community to create change, not because they care about the constituents that are currently here, but because it's going to benefit them financially. And that's all that anything is about. And the reason I drive out here is because you're the only community that seems to genuinely care, and you guys are diverse politically and you make it work, and I think that's absolutely beautiful. At least you used to, but now it seems that things are changing. So I do think a new environmental report needs to be produced. I think that external audits need to be done because your legal team has not been giving accurate advice. There are many issues, there are many conflicts. I barely got started investigating this city, and already it's been pure turmoil, as you can see on the community page. So please take the voices of your constituents seriously. This is their home. They love it here. And I don't like to see them be disrespected. I don't like to see you guys as colleagues disrespect each other. It's just not appropriate. So God bless you, but please look out for the best interests of the people who live here.
Thank you, Adina. Thank you for your comments, Adina. I appreciate it. Any other public comment? Yes, sir.
My name is Sergio Sales, and I'm going to ask the question that probably everybody here wants to know. Who up on the stage is getting their pockets lined? Because there is no way that Esmeralda should ever be invited into here. Getting $8 million houses, people came up here to retire and have access to Lake Sonoma. And we're getting told, oh, this is, we're getting people from upstate New York. Well, this is not upstate New York. Again, I'm going to say that the only reason that you wouldn't want to cover, or CYA as we like to call it, and have a EIR is because somebody's getting lined. Some money's come somewhere, but it's not from Cloverdale. It's coming from somebody who wants to come into our nice little town and say, oh, this Cloverdale's awesome, but let's put this big ass development where it doesn't belong. And nobody's saying, you guys aren't going, yeah, you're right, it doesn't belong here. We can't even get a Safeway or to get our roads that you've jacked our water rates up for. I have yet to see a road or an infrastructure done, and yet you're inviting somebody else to the table. I'm okay with like the thing, build a bigger table, but make sure you're taking care of the people in your family first. And the city of Cloverdale is your guys' family.
Thank you, Sergio. Any other public comment?
Hi, my name's Paul Gary. I live at 2800 River Road, directly across from the proposed development of Esmeralda. And I got multiple concerns. First of all, the environmental impact that we're talking about tonight. In Esmeralda's own words, they can't wait to start sculpting the land. I mean, if you were here at the last meeting, I'm sure you all remember those exact words from the development group. That's massive in an environmentally sensitive, technically dirty site. I mean, to start sculpting the land, moving thousands and thousands of yards of soil and exposing all those contaminants in the thing. This needs to be studied. It's complete negligence by the City of Cloverdale Town Council if you just waive this. Okay? Second, we have concerns. You quickly passed the water rights for Esmeralda. I went to a long meeting just last week with the Alexander Valley Water District. How come the other side of the river is in complete water crisis according to them, and your side of the river is a magic aquifer, according to your hydrologists? Absolutely. You have the greatest state water rights he's ever seen to draw. You got...
Excuse me, sir. Could we hold the applause and let the gentleman talk, please, and hold your comments? Let's have it this. Let's go.
Okay. You have the greatest water rights that he's kind of seen. We're first off of the draw of the great Russian River aquifer. But why does gravity and on our side of the river, the other side, which is just a stone's throw away, all of a sudden in a crisis mode with what could possibly happen up at Pillsbury, and what is gravity now tilting towards your wells and everybody on farming on our side of the river because we're county and your city, we have no concerns. I mean, this water commission, did anyone from your council show up to this form here of they're trying to form a new water valley district? And it was scary. I mean, I walked out of there and went, oh my God, is my well going to run dry? I only have a 150-foot deep well going. And if you guys just draw like we got no rights, on the other side of the river, well, what happens to the aquifer if we start going dry on our side because you got
Sir, could you wrap
6,000 more
your comments,
residents.
please?
Okay?
Thank you.
Shoot, I had one more important thing, but.
Thank you. Yeah. I can tell you why you,
In
hold on.
this development, we've never
excuse
gone
me. I can
far
tell
enough.
you why you would have had your time if we're not
Okay,
clapping
it's
or we're
a
not
completely different
disrupting the
topic.
meeting.
But it's something that should
No,
seriously be thought about.
we have to let everybody have their public comment.
Okay, next.
Thank you. No, that's not how it works. No. Okay, do we have any other public comment?
Hi, everybody. I'm Don Gibble, and I came with Adina because I think she's amazing, and I think Cloverdale is an amazing city. Where is diversity up there? We have one woman council member. I cannot believe that. We're in 2026. We have a Hispanic person, but she's a student liaison. She's probably really shy. She probably doesn't say anything when she's up there. And when you get older, I want you to run for council, whatever it is. But this man, I mean, I know the policies. I go to Santa Rosa's meetings all the time. That's where we have like 500 people wanting to speak. We don't have that here, Mayor Brian Wheeler, that you are. That man should be able to say what he wants. And I have 2 minutes and 33 seconds. I would love to, and I'm dyslexic, by the way, and autistic. I'm sorry, but he should be able to speak. Brian, and you look like an amazing person. I don't know who you are, but
I will take up a couple of seconds of your time, and the reason being is if we don't put some ground rules and give people 3 minutes,
Right.
these meetings will continue on and we'll get off.
But we're not in
off
Santa
subject.
Rosa.
So
How
we're
many
not.
more
We're in
people want to-
Cloverdale, and this is my meeting.
yeah, we're not. But thank you. This older man said, and he has a great T-shirt. We're not
3
pressed
minutes.
for time. I'm not done with my
ahead.
3 minutes, right?
Go ahead.
I can just stare at you for 2 more minutes, right?
I called the meeting and I set the parameters at 3 minutes, and that's what we're going to stick to.
But I'm not
Thank
done
you.
with my 3 minutes.
You're not, and I'm giving you extra time because I just interrupted you. Go ahead.
Okay, so I have 2 minutes and 17 seconds. I think he should be able to take the rest of my time.
No,
Why?
because this is your different public comment.
But I don't live here. He does, and he
Okay.
has a lot to say.
Okay.
So I could just stare at you for 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Is that a
Sure,
rule?
if you'd like
Okay,
to.
Let's do
Sounds
that.
good.
You look very uncomfortable up there. I
I'm not uncomfortable up here
you look
at all.
very uncomfortable.
Good.
And
Thank
I
you.
think the man is right. You're the one that's
Yeah,
probably
time
lining
is
your
running.
pockets. Brian,
what's the
he
time running
touched
out right
the
now?
nerve, didn't he?
No. Okay.
Thank you.
Let's go 217.
Brian, you're the one that's getting your, what did you say, lines pocket? I bet you're the one that's getting it. I can't prove it. But
Getting
look how
what?
uncomfortable you are. You're very uncomfortable
Oh,
up there.
okay.
And I know what, it's just like Santa Rosa. You guys take turns being the mayor or whatever, but you're a horrible person.
Thank you for your comment. Yeah.
You're not there yet. You're fine. Call you next.
Nobody else wants to talk?
Next public comment, please.
God.
Hi, my name's Greg Hamilton. I'm a resident of Cloverdale, and I'd just like to say I'm really not impressed with you guys.
Perfect. Thank you.
Shame on you.
Yeah.
Shame on you. We should all be allowed to speak. There's no issue of time. There's hardly anybody here, really, and you won't allow them to speak? Shame on you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Okay.
Michelle Winterbottom. I have a question. On the written comments, you say public written communication sent to council on items not on the agenda will be listed. Are people allowed to talk during that time, or are they just
Written
on there?
comments will become part of the record. When they send in written comments, they become part of the record.
So the public can't speak on those?
No,
The people that have written,
This is for public comment. We have written comments
I
that
know
came in,
public
and you
comment
guys can read
versus
those.
written
Mayor,
comment.
you can speak on the written comments during the public comment period. So you could speak on it now if you'd like during the verbal public comment.
But you would have more time because you're on the agenda as a written comment.
3 minutes.
They get added onto the agenda whenever they get submitted, not 72 hours ahead of time when the agenda is posted.
We need new lawyers anyway.
If,
New city lawyers, it's stuff.
if they're not on the agenda, if they're not going to be spoken about, are there written reports on these written notices that, for the public to read? Do you have them in the agenda packet?
Yes, we do.
You do.
Yes.
And where are those? Because I couldn't find them online.
They are, if you go to Cloverdale Agenda Center, all of the written comments are on there prior to the 2 that we received after 3 o'clock, and they didn't get put on there, but they will be put on there as part of the public record. And those were from Ms. Pringle.
So if I write an item and I want to speak at city council about the item that I write about, where would it be on the agenda?
It would be under written comments. If you write it and send it to the city, it will be under written comments, and that's part of the record. We do not read those. So you can
That's what
speak
I'm
on it.
asking. Why is the public not able to talk about the written items? I mean,
Mr. Mayor, I
there's
think you
requests for written
just
legal and
misspoke,
factual
Claire.
basis for CEQA.
You
me if I'm wrong.
can speak on verbal public comment. Someone can speak on the written comment
Yep.
during a verbal public comment.
Gotcha. Are we
Say that
clear?
again?
You can speak on written comments during public comment period.
That's what I'm asking.
Yes.
Why do you have it separated? You're giving them 3 minutes to talk about an
Correct.
item that they've submitted to you
we at on
that they have questions on.
Okay. No. Yep.
Calling a point of
You
order.
I was a city
comment?
clerk for
Calling
20
a point
years,
of order
and people
here.
that wrote in comments
I'm calling a point
were
of order
able to
here.
speak.
I'm going to ask our attorney to clarify
Yes.
what the rules are,
We're all
just so we don't have this
So,
back and forth, and we can give
Brown
our
Act requires
time
that
to speak.
items to be discussed be posted as part of the agenda 72 hours ahead of time.
correct.
We add as a courtesy so the public knows all of the comments that have been submitted, we post those onto the agenda. But some of these have been submitted today. They were not out for the public to know about 72 hours ahead of time.
So why
So-
do you have
and-
them on the agenda this time?
So that the public is aware of the emails that were sent to the council. Anyone can speak on any topic they want, including those written comments during B1 verbal comments. So anyone who sees something of interest to them during those written comments can speak on B1 under verbal comments about that which interests them.
Michelle, does that clarify things, or you have time, you have
It
3
doesn't
minutes?
make sense to me,
So
but,
if
you
I
know,
can, if I can
that,
communicate to the
me,
public.
you can't
Yeah.
change an agenda within 72 hours of holding that meeting. So
Well, any other public comments?
Good evening, Council. My name is Jude Gibson. This is kind of heated. Question for you. Have you ever watched the council meetings after the fact that are posted on YouTube? I generally only watch the last 10 minutes. The rest of the information I get from the community, but the last 10 minutes are pretty spiffy. So I wanted to remind everyone of the code of ethics for the city council. In the preamble, it says to use their public office to serve the community, not for personal benefit. 9.2, act in the public interest, recognizing that the stewardship of the public interest is their primary responsibility. Council members and commissioners shall serve the common good of the people of Cloverdale rather than any private or personal interests, and shall strive to treat all individuals, claims, and matters with fairness and equality. Conduct of members to practice civility and decorum in discussions and debate. Free debate does not justify public officials to make belligerent, personal, impertinent slanderous, threatening, abusive, or disparaging comments, and to make an effort for the public to feel welcome as a part of the democratic process. No signs of partiality, prejudice, or disrespect should be evident in the part of the individual members towards the individual participating in a public forum. The way that you have treated these two council members in the last 10 minutes of the last 4 or so meetings that I've watched is egregious. Read your code of conduct.
Thank you for your comments.
Hello, everybody. Regina Beery. My father has been a veterinarian here in town for my whole life. And as a long-term resident, I'm barely learning about this Esmeralda stuff. I'm really curious about why we're not voting as a community on whether or not we are going to expand this community. And I'd like to understand the addendum situation. You've given them an addendum to go ahead, and you're waiving the need for a new environmental impact report? Is that? Can anyone talk to me about that?
Alex, would you?
There's a presentation on the next agenda item, and we'll discuss that process at that time.
Okay, so that is going to be addressed. Do we get to talk to you again after that? Okay. Okay. Because I've always been worried about the taxing on the aquifer. My mother's home is across the river, so she, as this gentleman is county. So, and I hate to not hear what he has to say because, you know, everybody on the other side of the river should have a voice. We are all part of the same community, even though they don't get to vote on our city council things. It's just really upsetting that that there would be any sort of a shortcut for a developer and not including the community members in the decisions, because it's going to be a really huge change. I didn't even know about the Berber complex. I'm just finding this out. So obviously I don't get out enough. I will be able to speak again later.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Okay, I'm seeing none. Oh, go ahead. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brian Den, and I just want to be on record that I would like to have a new environmental impact report done, and that I'm not for the addendum. I also am here with Regina, and I believe the people across the river should have a vote as well, even though they don't. This is going to affect everybody. It's going to affect our future. It's going to affect my son's future. And I just believe that we should take a better look at it and not move forward so fast to try to make money. Rather, look at the impact, look at how it's going to affect everybody, look at what it's going to change our community into.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments.
Regina.
Public comment? All right. Do we have one? You're willing to come down and make a public comment?
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Leahy, and I just moved to Cloverdale, but I grew up on the Russian River, and I've been with the community for a very long time. My question is, so what are the implications if we were to roll out this project for hospitals, infrastructure, education, schools, all of that? Like, has that been thought through? And if we are to build something like this, I'm not saying we are planning to build this, but don't mark my words, but if something like this were to be built, how does the wildlife move to the trajectory of needing to have all this other infrastructure? That's my curiosity. And again, I'm a new person in the community again, but I have a curious mind. So I wonder if you can talk to that.
We cannot.
You can bring it up under the Esmeralda plan, see if we can answer any
And maybe it's for further discussion, but I'm curious about the implications of our
Yeah, you
community
can
going
bring
forward.
your questions up again if you'd like to under the item when the city attorney gives his thing, and then we can answer some questions.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to use my voice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Oh, here we go.
You guys are pretty fearful of what I have to say.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Tasha Hart, and I'm a resident of Cloverdale. I just want to remind you, I was thinking about this gentleman here, that city council members are paid by the constituents. We pay taxes, and we pay you guys, and we vote for you to be here. And so cutting people off due to time constraints seems unreasonable to me, especially considering what a hot topic this is. And, you know, we're the ones who elect you. Your role is to listen to everyone. If people are willing to give up their time so others can speak, that should be allowed. We see this happen in Congress and Senate hearings for constituents. So why not here? Is it because the viewpoints being shared don't align with yours? Or because outside interests are influencing these decisions? Esmeralda should be put on the ballot. We should be able to vote for that. Solano County just did a similar project, and they put it on the ballot. So why aren't we doing that? And Mayor.
Yes.
The way you treated this gentleman was like so unacceptable. You know, when I dress up as a frigid bitch, I try not to look so constipated. So please, let him speak.
Thank you. Who's talking? Oh. Any other public comment? Okay, I'm seeing none. We're going to go ahead and close public comment. We're going to move into item B2, which is written comments. Like mentioned before, written comments are on the agenda. They're on Cloverdale's Agenda Center. They are part of the record. Let's move into C, Student Liaison Report. Please, proceed.
Hi, I'm Brisa Cardenas, and I go to the Cloverdale High School. For Cloverdale, juniors have started the CASP testing this week. Progress reports will be out in 2 weeks. Scholarships are available in Google Classroom for seniors to apply for. Prom is happening this Saturday from 7 to 11 at the Village Chanticleer, and yearbooks are still on sale for $70. Varsity Baseball has an away game this Friday against Lower Lake at 4 p.m., and JV has a home game against Lower Lake at 4 p.m. Both varsity and JV softball have a home game against Fort Bragg at 4 p.m. Tennis has a home match tomorrow against Middletown at 4 p.m., and track has a home meet Wednesday, April 15th. For the Jefferson, TK through kindergarten enrollment for new students are now open. TK classes were visited by a classroom safari. They were able to see and learn about wild animals. First grade students visited the Charles Schultz Museum. Kindergarten classes visited the local fire department, and the local police department gave them presentations at school. For the Washington Middle School, the library hosted its annual book fair the week before spring break, and this year's 8th grade class is raising money for promotion with a Blackstone raffle.
Thank you so much. What a great job. Like to bring it to council. Do we have any comments from council?
Thank you, Brisa.
I wanted to thank you, and I wanted to tell you you're getting better every time that you're here.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're, Brisa, yeah, you're maturing over there. It's wonderful to see. Thank you.
Good job.
Yeah, thank you very much. You're like Councilmember Lasky said, you're maturing, you're getting louder, more confidence, really appreciate it. And I think the whole community enjoys it. Thank you so much. All right, let's move into item D, recognitions. We're going to do proclamation, Week of the Young Child. Councilmember Marquez.
A proclamation of the City Council of the City of Cloverdale recognizing April 11th through 16th, 2026 as Week of the Young Child in Cloverdale. Whereas the Child Care Planning Council of Sonoma County, in partnership with the National Association for Education of Young Children and local organizations, promotes and plans for quality child care and development through collaboration and community leadership. And whereas these organizations work together to strengthen early care and education opportunities that support the development and learning of young children, including those in Cloverdale. And whereas high-quality early care and education supports school readiness, helps address developmental delays, and contributes to a positive long-term outcome for children. And whereas young children benefit from access to developmentally appropriate, affordable, and available early care and education settings. And whereas the City of Cloverdale is working toward expanding recreation and enrichment opportunities to better support young children and families in the community. And whereas a strong early childhood workforce that reflects diverse linguistic, cultural, and community backgrounds helps meet the needs of all children and families. And whereas early childhood educators, caregivers, and staff across Cloverdale's early learning programs and schools demonstrate a daily commitment to care, education, and development of young children and deserve recognition and appreciation. And now, therefore, it be proclaimed that April 11th through 17th, 2026 is designated as Week of the Young Child in Cloverdale, and the City Council recognizes the vital role of early childhood educators, families, and community partners in supporting the healthy development and future success of Cloverdale's youth. Dated April 8th, so ordered, Brian Wheeler, Mayor of Cloverdale.
Thank you, Councilmember Marquez. Nice job. Tonight we have recipients going to be Ashley Dewey, Madeline Kobe, first grade teachers at Jefferson Elementary. Would you guys like to come down, get a picture with us? We'll come down.
Thank you. We're not that prepared, but we represent all of Jefferson. Both of us are proud teachers. I teach kinder first. She teaches first. Both of us support a lot of the committees at our school, and we love our job, and we really appreciate you seeing what we've done.
Awesome. Thank you. Any comments from the council?
Well, thank you much for investing all the extra time that you do as teachers. Youth are our future here, and really appreciate your work.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank you guys for your dedication to service. Whatever you instill in the kids today will be there for long term tomorrow. I know you will do a good job on that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I want to say kind of the same thing, except I've been on the school board for 8 years, spent a lot of time with you guys, and I know the hard work and dedication and the hours that you put in after and before school, and that's where the difference is really made, is the true love that you guys have for your students and the learning process, and I thank you guys for what you do.
Thank you guys very much. I have quite a few teachers in my family lineage, and I know the amount of work and the effect that they have on children at a young age and as they grow. So thank you very much. It is you have to be dedicated to be a teacher. So thank you. Greatly appreciate it. Can we get a picture with you guys?
Of course.
All right.
Thank you. Good job. Appreciate it.
Social media is one, two, three. Did your mom come as well? All right. Oh, she would have been good. Tell her to come.
All right, item D2, let's do a proclamation for National Public Safety Telecommunications Week. We do have recipients, Tammy Lemley, Cloverdale Dispatcher. Councilmember Lasky.
A proclamation of the City Council of the City of Cloverdale recognizing April 12th to the 18th, 2026 as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. Whereas National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week, observed annually during the second week of April, honors public safety telecommunicators as the first point of contact and vital link between the public and emergency services. And whereas Cloverdale residents rely on a timely and reliable access to emergency and non-emergency services, and our public safety telecommunicators provide critical communication, coordination between callers and responders, and support for both emergency and non-emergency needs. And whereas dispatchers support Cloverdale's police personnel and coordinate with regional fire and emergency services providers by managing response efforts, monitoring radio activity, and helping ensure the safety of those in the field, while also serving at the police department front counter, assisting the public, and performing critical records and administrative functions. And whereas the public safety telecommunicators serving Cloverdale play a vital role in protecting lives, property, and the overall safety and continuity of services in the community, and consistently demonstrate professionalism, composure, and compassion in handling a wide range of calls throughout the year. And whereas from April 1st, 2025 to April 1st, 2026, Cloverdale's public safety telecommunicators handled 17,353 phone calls, including 1,627 emergency 911 calls and 15,726 business line calls, averaging approximately 1,435 calls per month, including about 1,300 business line calls and 135 emergency 911 calls per month, And during that same period, dispatchers handled 17,917 incidents, including 10,940 calls for service, averaging approximately 910 per month, and 6,977 officer-initiated incidents, averaging approximately 580 per month, for a total average of about 1,490 incidents per month. Here, that's just here in the city of Cloverdale. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that April 12th to the 18th, 2026 is designated as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in Cloverdale. And the City Council of the City of Cloverdale commends our dedicated team of dispatchers, Tanya Galloway, Tammy Lemley, Michael Newhall, Carolyn Peterson, Lori Smith, and Dispatch Supervisor Caitlin Jensen, as well as Records Manager Darlene Stratton, for their unwavering commitment to upholding the safety and security of our community. Dated April 8, 2026, so ordered. Brian Wheeler, Mayor.
Nice job.
Thank you, Tammy, and all the other dispatchers. Just can't imagine, all the trauma that you deal with as the first responder to hear about any call that's coming in. So I really do commend you and all the other dispatchers for all the hard work you do. Thank you.
I wanted to thank you, all the dispatchers, for being there continually for the city of Cloverdale.
Chief and I had to talk about this, but I appreciate all you guys' service for what you do for the community, how you guys handle the calls, how the calls come in. I think it would inundate the public to know how the system works and how service providers show up at your front door when you are in need. So I appreciate your continuity. Thank you for your service.
I don't think anyone really understands the job of a dispatcher, including the law enforcement or first responders that are involved. Knowing how this works, it's crazy seeing the first person to take the call to deal with the threat, the fear, the injury, whatever the case may be. They have to decipher what it is and remain calm when someone else is having a life-threatening injury, a life-threatening event. And you guys have to calm them down and try to figure out ways to get people there to help them in a very timely manner. And then the worst part is at the end of every call, they're the last ones to know what happened. So you have somebody that was critically injured in a car accident, somebody that was shot, somebody screaming that their husbands are killing them or something's going on. They're the only ones that don't know how that call ended. So the emotional roller coaster, the adrenaline dumps that go on, it hurts their lives, it hurts their emotions, it hurts them mentally and physically. People never even think about, including the cops that go out there and deal with it. And so the relationship that you guys have with the public is paramount. The relationship that you have with your coworkers is amazing. And they would not be able to do their calls if it wasn't for you guys. And the community would not be who they are if you guys weren't there to control and keep them calm in their emergency times. So I can't thank you enough. I can't thank every dispatcher or anybody that gets on that other side of the phone and answers it and says, 911, how do I help you? You guys are amazing, so thank you.
There you go. Likewise, I have a lot of experience dealing with dispatchers, using them myself, and they are a calm voice when things get heated. And like the vice mayor and most of the council's been saying, we really appreciate what you guys do. Things can get crazy. Some of the stuff you hear is not what somebody wants to hear, but when you do, you remain calm, you get somebody there, and we can get help on the way. You're a critical part of what makes Cloverdale happen. When it comes to that, you've heard those numbers. Those are big numbers just for a little town of Cloverdale. So, Cloverdale dispatchers, obviously I'm partial to those guys, but you know what? I thank all the dispatchers in every department and everything around. They make the world go round. They get people where they need to be, and they keep us all safe. So thank you all very much.
Mayor, if I may?
Chief, go ahead.
Dispatch, I could not do a dispatcher's job. I couldn't do it. If you could, I'll give you just one of the calls for service that comes to mind. If you want to think about the perspective of the dispatcher, and person sitting in their car says, I want to take my life. Dispatcher's talking to them on the phone. Officer walks up, dispatcher hears a bang. What that does, now they don't know if the officer shot or, the person took his own life. But what that does to the person on the other line, you and I will probably never know that. It's a difficult job. I couldn't do their job. 1 minute they're answering a phone to help somebody with, how do I get a hold of so we get some strange questions. The next minute, they can be dealing with somebody at the counter. I found a wallet, and they're turning in a wallet. The next minute, they could be having an officer respond to a domestic violence incident where they're yelling on the other line. Just to kind of give you a perspective, you went through all the stats. So the dispatchers answered 98.7% of their 911 calls within 15 seconds. exceeding the California standard of 90%. Notably, during several months throughout the year, the team achieved 100% answered within 15 seconds, which is outstanding. You know, when you call 911, we're going to pick up and we're going to get somebody there. To talk about Tammy Lemley right next to me, this is her 31st year as a dispatcher.
Wow. Awesome.
For the city. That's for the city of Cloverdale, which is, you know, I think she's the longest tenured employee here. So she takes on a few roles on her own. She does the Special Olympics torch run. She coordinates that with the county and the police department. She does the National Night Out rib-off competition. You know about that because I came in first last year.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
And she helped out. She was Martha Mayhew for the Grinch event. And then she participates in, you know, all of our events that we do throughout the year. She's also the president of the union. So I'm proud of our team that we've assembled. I'm proud of Tammy. You know, I just can't say enough to really appreciate you. And thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much, Chief, and thank you, Tammy.
She's photo shy, so. No
I was trying to figure out. She's on the phone all the time. Why aren't you speaking?
31 years.
Yeah, come on, we got to have a photo. Come on. Let's do it.
You can bring them all down.
Yeah, bring them all down. Get everybody down here.
Come on. Come on, darling. Here we go. You do it. Shut up.
Thank you, Marion.
You're welcome.
We can squeeze in a little bit. If you can. 1, 2, 3.
One more, just Sam, please.
Yeah.
So we have time with this, but we don't have time to listen to you speak. That's great.
All right, we're all set. All right, let's move into E, presentations. E1 is going to be moved. That was Cloverdale Healthcare District Ambulance. Our presenter is not feeling well, so we'll be doing that at the, which council meeting?
22nd.
22nd council meeting. So we'll move into E2, processing proposed Esmeralda project by the city attorney.
Mike, can you bring the presentation up? Good evening, Mayor, council members. This is a follow-up from, I think, at the last meeting, the council requested a future agenda item on the processing of the Esmeralda project. We're going to talk today high-level overview of how that processing works and what approvals are going to be coming to the city council for review, including the environmental review process. The presentation doesn't get into any of the details of the project. That, of course, will come during the public hearing. There will be a full opportunity for the council at that time. But this is just to provide a overview.
Excuse me, Alex. Hey, Mike, can you get it up? Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
So while Mike's getting that ready, council's well aware of where the project site is. It's about 267 acres north of the airport, in between roughly Highway 101 and the... Yeah, this is the first slide. So we're still on this slide. Mike, you can go to the next slide. Between Highway 101 and the Russian River. As the council, you know, there's an existing approved project on the site that is entitled and subject to an existing development agreement. The existing project allows for a hotel, a spa, a private golf course, 100,000 square feet, or a little bit more of commercial uses, and then up to 235 low-density units. Generally single-family homes, but not everything. So the proposed project that the current applicant has come forward with would have significant changes to the content of the project. About 168 acres would be set aside for open space or recreational uses, ball fields, that sort of thing. A hotel, and just to note, these are the approximate figures still. They may be adjusted slightly, and they're the maximum. So the approvals that they are seeking put maximum caps on things. We'll talk about it in a minute. There will be phased approvals in the future that will set the specific numbers, and they may end up being lower than these amounts, but these are the maximums. So a 200-room hotel that includes an event space to accommodate, weddings and things like that. 200 multi-family senior living units reserved for seniors. 400 market rate units, and that's split between roughly 50-50 between detached and attached units. So, traditional single-family home, and then attached units are, a townhome would be a good example of an attached unit. About 22,000 square feet of retail, and about 17,000 and a half square feet of office working spaces. Part of the open space includes a great lawn where there'd be eventually, at some point in the future, the proposal is for an amphitheater. That's not, an approval for that's not being sought at this time, but that is part of their long-term approval. And then there'd be the great lawn, a gathering space as well. So right now, the entitlements being sought for these, there's a number of entitlements being sought for this project. For many projects that have come before the council in the past, the project already complied with the existing zoning. And so project really didn't need any discretionary approval from the city. It complied with the adopted zoning. The city couldn't say, yes or no to the project. It was just really coming for design review. This project is different. It needs changes, is requesting changes to the city's underlying development regulations in some cases. So there is a proposed update to a small general plan amendment, an updated specific plan. There's an existing specific plan that reflects the original project. Existing approved projects, so it would be updated to reflect these projects. Some similar zoning code updates to reflect, uses that might not be allowed on the site now, but that would be allowed in the future. Objective design standards for the project, so that there are clear standards for what the project is allowed. An amended and restated development agreement. There is an existing development agreement for the project, but this would be amended and restated to reflect the new project and some new deal points. A master tentative map. So when land is subdivided, there's a map, and usually what happens is first is there's a tentative map, and that might have conditions associated with, like, building a road, for example. The final map is recorded and the land becomes subdivided once all of those conditions are met. The master tentative map for this project would divide the property into some large parcels, large areas. So, for example, there might be one parcel where a bunch of single-family homes will be. The master map being sought now would not subdivide that parcel at this time for the single-family homes. And then they're also seeking authorization from the city to participate in CMFA, which is the California Municipal Finance Authority. That's a statewide JPA. Their BOLD program, which is the Bond Opportunities for Land Development. And that's not a bond that the city would issue or any cost to the city, but it's through that JPA financing that they can access in order to pay for improvements that are required for the project by the city. Next slide, please, Mike. Thank you. So those are the approvals that are being sought now. After those approvals, if those approvals are obtained, they may have to obtain approvals from federal, state, or county regulatory agencies like the water board, or if projects change, they may need various permits for things they're doing. If it involves sanitary sewer, from the Regional Water Quality Control Board or that sort of thing. The SMART tracks run through the project, and so there may be SMART approvals necessary for any crossing that would happen there. So those are all later. Those aren't, outside the city's authority. Those are in the authority of those federal, state, or county agencies. And then they'll be seeking, as the project develops in phases, specific tentative maps. So I mentioned there'd be one large tentative map now that maybe identifies one large parcel that's going to be single-family homes. They'll come back later for the map to actually subdivide that into, whatever it might be, 30 single-family lots or something like that. And then also propose buildings. Those would go through a development review process to make sure that they're consistent with the specific plan and the objective design standards. And then, of course, like any project, building permit and grading permit reviews that happen at a staff level. So there's CEQA is the state California Environmental Quality Act, and it requires public agencies to determine if its discretionary actions will have a significant effect on the environment. So sometimes the city has no discretion over a project. It has to approve it. And so there's no discretionary action. It might be at a staff level decision, and so that doesn't get CEQA review. But these decisions to change the general plan, to adopt a development agreement, those are discretionary. And so it requires CEQA review. And CEQA requires a public agency to determine if its discretionary approval will have a significant effect on the environment. So significant effects sometimes can be mitigated. So they identify that there's an issue, but you create a mitigation measure. So a lot of times you'll see dust during construction could be a significant impact, but the mitigation measure is to have, watering of the site to make sure it doesn't become dusty or something like that. That's something you see in some projects. It's not necessary for this project. That's just one random example. Some projects are exempt from CEQA. Depending on their size or their things, this project is not. And if a project has a significant and unavoidable effects, an EIR is required. And then that can't be mitigated. An EIR is required, and the approving body also has to adopt what's known as a statement of overriding consideration, saying, even though these effects have been identified, we still want to approve the project and you list the reasons for why the project approval is being sought. Next slide, please, Mike. So there is for the existing approved project, there was a EIR that was certified, approved and certified, and then 2 addendums for changes to the project that would occur. A local agency under CEQA regulations is required to prepare an addendum where an EIR has previously been prepared for a project, unless there have been certain thresholds are met. So if there's been changes to the project that will result in new significant impacts that weren't previously identified, or increase the severity of previously identified significant impacts, effects, that would make it so you can't do a addendum. Changes to circumstances facing the project and the surrounding environment that will result in new significant impacts or substantial increase. Those are, again, something that would preclude a addendum. And then new information of substantial importance, which was not known and could not have been known at the time, shows new significant effects. That there are new significant effects, there are more severe effects, or maybe there's a feasible mitigation measure that we previously said in the EIR wasn't feasible, or some other new mitigation measure. So if those are found to be true, then we can't prepare an EIR, can't adopt an EIR. If these aren't found to be true, then the city has an obligation to prepare the addendum. And next slide, please, Mike. So the consultant selected by the city, First Carbon, is preparing an addendum for this project. I'm sure the council is familiar with First Carbon. They've been used by the city on previous projects. I think our circulation element, just a few, maybe that was a year ago at this point. And then they also rely on technical experts to prepare appendices. So that rough draft is submitted to city staff from the consultant and city staff, the planning team, the city attorney's office, review it, provide feedback, revisions for that process. It's currently a quite lengthy document. The addendum itself is hundreds of pages, and then there's significant appendices. And then once the addendum is finalized, it's presented to the Planning Commission and the City Council for review and approval as part of the project. The City Council is the decision maker. So it's the City Council's obligation to look at the document, to the addendum, to read the addendum, to read comments that members of the public have submitted, any other documents the public has submitted, and then use its, take that whole record before it and then use its independent judgment to determine have the standards for an addendum been met or not, and base its decision on that. So that will be coming to the City Council to make that decision, and if the council determines no, these standards can't be met, the direction will be from the council, we can't make these standards, supplemental EIR should be prepared. The next slide, please, Mike. So this is the rough planning approval timeline. This is just the formal steps to give the council a general idea of when it is. So there will be a date where notice of a planning commission hearing is published. And I'm calling that day 0. And no earlier than that date, all of the documents will be available on the city's website. What I'll say are final draft documents for the city's consideration. So of all the entitlements we referenced earlier, as well as the environmental documents in appendices. Then that notice at a minimum is 20 days before the Planning Commission hearing. The Planning Commission isn't the decision maker, they just make a recommendation. So they make a recommendation to the City Council about whether to approve the project, deny the project, make changes to the project. At least 14 days after that, but it could be longer, the City Council will have a public hearing on the process. And notice of that will be published at least 10 days in advance of that hearing. And the council at that one will have the opportunity to consider the entitlements being sought in the environmental review and either approve them or not. That's within the council's discretion. The environmental review has to be approved in order to approve the project. So if the council decides these findings can't be made and we want a supplemental EIR, the rest of the project can't be approved at that time. And then you may remember from the earlier slide, some of the approvals are resolutions, some of them are ordinances. The ones that are ordinances require a second reading before the city council. So that would happen at a subsequent meeting, at least 14 days after the first one, 2 weeks, and when final approval would be happening. So this is the rough project timeline of just the high level formal steps involved in the approval process. So Mike, I believe that's the last slide. So happy to take, of course, any questions from the council.
Council, any questions?
So I want to thank you, City Attorney Mogg, for putting the presentation together. Thank you, everyone in the public, for coming out today. Certainly, one of the questions I have about the zoning of the parcel there, can that be reassessed by the council if?
Yeah, so the zoning, you mean the zoning that's there existing or their proposed changes to the zoning?
The existing zoning.
The council can change zoning. There is for the approved project, they already have their entitlements for the existing project. So a change to zoning now wouldn't impact the existing project until those expire. I don't have off the top of my head when those expire, but until then, that project, even if you change the zoning, could continue.
Okay. And regarding the process, one of the questions that our public had today was about a public vote. Is in what time of this process can the public, if they chose to, file for a referendum, petition to referendum?
Referendums petitions are circulated for referendum after there's been an action. So until the council approves something, there's nothing to referendum. And so it would be after that.
Okay. And just want to make sure that that's communicated to the public. I think it's a key part of this whole process that people know what their rights are regarding what they're requesting.
Any comments?
I wanted to let the public make public comments before I make a comment.
Okay. You're good? Okay. Okay, do we have any public comment on this?
Daniel, can you hold a second? I need to get that timer up 1 second.
Can you go to the second to last slide?
Unfortunately,
that's
no.
okay. That's fine.
I have to have the timer up so the council and
that's
you know
fine.
your time, but I can bring it back up after.
I can bring it up and I'll do the timer for you.
Okay.
I won't take 3 minutes, I promise. I guess I have two questions. And the first would be with regards to what Councilmember Marquez asked about. Would an option also be that the city council decide to put the matter on the ballot for a vote by the people? That's my first question. And then my second question is just in general with regards to the process. My understanding is that this will come first to the Planning Commission, of which I'm a member, and thereafter we'll make a recommendation to the city. And the recommendation could either be to approve, to deny, or to make changes. And so my second question is one of the options that the Planning Commission would be to recommend a change to require a full environmental impact report. Thank you.
Mayor, do you want me to respond as
Yeah,
we
go
go?
ahead.
The city council could decide to submit something to the vote. We need the final documents to submit, but that's what the council wants that could be submitted as a ballot measure to the voters. I mean, in the Planning Commission, yes, they can include whatever they want in the recommendation they've made.
Perfect. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Adina Flores, and I'm looking for a legal point of clarification because it is election season, and I have been looking at campaign contributions, and it does concern me regarding the very large donations from local real estate developer Bill Gallagher to Vice Mayor Lands because even the appearance of a conflict of interest requires recusal under the provisions of the Fair Political Practices Commission. And I have no idea if Mr. Gallagher has interest in the rezoning because Mr. Lands also serves on the Airport Commission through the county that is having special meetings about the Esmeralda project and rezoning. So this is a massive development project, and there are terrific financial interests and conflicts everywhere. So I would like an external audit of that is outside of maybe the city's parameter, but to have an independent, maybe a forensic auditor, because there's been a tremendous lack of transparency. And there was already another deal regarding campaign donors that appeared to be a conflict, because regarding the car wash building that could not sell for a long period of time, the transaction with Court Amelung, that took place back in July, I forget what year exactly, but it was given to Lawrence Amaturo, who then gave Vice Mayor Lands a campaign donation of $3,500 or so within that same day or the following day after the lien was removed, and $50,000 in code enforcement fees were waived on that property. So it looks like these business dealings are being driven by financial means. It's not personal ever when I bring these things forward, but there's a reason I do not support Supervisor James Gore. We've been debating for 6 years very publicly, as people in this room have witnessed before. And so if you're going to step in that role as a supervisor, I expect transparency. I expect truth for this community and genuine compassion. But right now, the disrespect that I've seen, I don't want to watch your guys' meetings. They're super boring. And like your constituent said, I look at the last 10 minutes, and your lovely colleagues over here on the far right have been treated horrifically. So I'm not going to call out specific names. I said what I had to say. It's all over the internet. You can subscribe to my publication and read it for yourself. But I feel that the people here are being lied to. That is very obvious. I think you have a brilliant young student councilwoman here who is going to hear from a few meetings that she's being lied to, because guess what? I'm a former government employee. I was the assistant to the superintendent of schools, okay? I got fired from the largest district in Sonoma County because my board was stealing nonprofit dollars. So I will always tell the truth. I care about this community. Please listen to them. But now you need to have a separate town hall aside from the public hearing. Let them speak as long as they would like be there all night. They're paying for, taxpayer dollars. Hear what they have to say, because this deal is going to destroy this community. God bless you guys.
Thank you, Adina. Ms. Sullivan? Yeah. Yep. Okay. Oh, there, okay.
Hi, thank you. I just have a few statements and then 2 questions. So they're going to tell you over and over, oh, it's 1,000 pages. It doesn't matter how many pages it is. Don't fall for that, because there is a difference between an environmental impact report and an addendum that is crucial. So this statement's going to continue. Okay, so it sounds to me like the city is putting the responsibility that is actually the city's responsibility as lead agency, but it's putting this responsibility on the city council, or at least it's saying something along the lines that, oh, it's the city council that decides. My understanding is that as the lead agency, the city is responsible for saying, they get this submission, this application, and they say, let me review this. And they say, can we do an addendum or can we do an EIR? And if any of those things that are triggered, which is what he mentioned on one of the slides, those 3 things that he mentioned, if any of those are triggered, then an EIR needs to be done. Now, I don't know if you guys have done this yet, and this is what my questions are about, but clearly you're already on the addendum path. And this is not a minor adjustment. So like the addendums are for minor adjustments. Esmeralda is the largest development in Cloverdale's history. This is not minor, and it's the entitlement package that they had up there. is just massive what they're asking for, and they're asking for it really quick. So these are my questions. My questions are, what substantial evidence is the city relying on to conclude that no substantial project changes, changed circumstances, or new information of substantial importance requiring major revisions to the prior EER under CEQA guidelines, section 15162? My reading of this is that all of those triggers are triggered and that an EIR should be being done right now. You shouldn't even be playing the game with Esmeralda, teasing them with this addendum idea. So who, on behalf of the city, that's my other question, who, on behalf of the city, has independently reviewed and analyzed the draft CEQA addendum and supporting technical studies consistent with the lead agency's duty to exercise its own independent judgment under Public Resources Code, section 210821C? And where will that independent city review and judgment be reflected in the public record and made available to the public? I would love to see what was actually looked at and how you guys came to the conclusion that an addendum was the way to go. And I want people to understand, like, I think one of the most important differences between an addendum and an EIR is the public's ability to comment. An EIR requires that the city will respond and answer every single question. The addendum is kind of like this format, like where we can say what we want to say, but they don't have to respond. An EIR will mandate that. An addendum doesn't. Okay, that's it.
Thank you. Alex, would you like to respond?
So that's correct. The city is the lead agency. The city acts through its governing body, which is the city council. So the city council is responsible for the addendum will be prepared. It's a document. You will read it and you will see in that document, do I believe that these findings have been made and necessary? And you as a council will exercise your independent judgment as the governing agency for the lead agency, the city, and make that determination. So it's not a staff determination. The council will make that ultimate decision. And if the council reviews it and feels we can't make this determination after reviewing this, we want a supplemental EIR, then that'll be the direction of the council. You would be adopting a resolution laying out your findings one way or another.
Okay. Thank you, Alex. Any other question?
Can I ask one follow-up question? Does the city not have a responsibility of...
Can we get a mic for you, Jennifer, please?
Yes.
Just let her.
Thank you. Does the city not have responsibility as a lead agency? I mean, like, that experts and people in this field would review it themselves. It's interesting that you're sending it to the city council to make this decision when none of these folks, no offense, but like they're not environmental experts. I mean, like that's supposed to be done within the city from what I understand. And then you guys make the decision of what to send to them.
The city council is the decision maker. So they get, right, in order, the relevant regulations say no subsequent EIR shall be prepared unless the lead agency determines on the basis of substantial evidence in light of the whole record that one or more of those findings exist. So the whole record is prepared, this addendum document is prepared, and then it goes to the council. The addendum document is prepared by experts. There's the first carbon is the primary lead, but there's technical appendices for all experts in traffic, engineers and wildlife folks and all, so on and so forth. And that goes to the council. So the council reviews and makes its independent judgment based on all of the whole record. So anything that the public is maybe commenting on, as well as this document, the city council takes all of that into consideration and makes its decision.
Okay. Thank you, Alex.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, let's wait till let's finish these up. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm Paul Pieri again. You're starting to get to know me, and please don't take my picture and put me on front for Press Democrat. I'm a structural engineer. I've been a structural engineer since I've been 20. I'm near 68, picked Cloverdale to retire to. I've been in responsible charge of construction projects my whole life. I've been engineer of record, near 10,000, maybe more, projects all over the state of California. And I need the public to understand that the scale of this project, the 10-year projected construction period, it's massive. It is going to be so environmentally impactful to us and the construction all up and down the corridor. The amount of people that are going to come, the trucks, it's huge. So someday it will end, but I'm just thinking that I'm well adversed with project peer review, third-party plan checking agencies that are outsourced, and knowing that the Planning Commission ends up with pretty much the final say of what really happens in these projects. And I'm worried that the city of Cloverdale, their building department, their planning department, they're not capable of handling this scale of construction. Little residential houses here or there, but this is really, really big. So I'm like to hear what the council says. Are they going to build a whole new vault to handle all the plans and drawings and make an AI center for this project? I mean, what's it going to take for this small town of Cloverdale to handle this kind of construction? So, and the approval processes that it takes. Okay, so I want to just flip. Let's just say it all goes on and everything's going to happen. One big factor that I've noticed is as of January 25, the new building code, CBC 25, requires since January that every single residence, every single condo, every townhome, they all need a 2 kilowatt solar panel array to amend the electricity demand for this type of scale demand. So you take 600 development homes, maybe a 2 kilowatt system, it's really 8 to 10 panels per house. So you're gonna, this is 6,000 solar panels that are gonna be required by Title 24 in the state of California to approve this project. Nowhere in the development plans they got the hillside homes with their little pictures of the Italian villas. Well, is this going to turn into the glass crystal palace in New York City? Comes to Cloverdale because of this solar panel way. They didn't dedicate anywhere on the site to have 6,000 solar panels. I mean, that's what's going to be required. So I'm just putting the bug in your guys' plan going, what is Esmeralda going to do with this? And the impact that the community is going to have with that type of solar panel array. The other side of the river, the glare, the scene, it's like, well, we're the other side of the river. We're the county. We're not in the city. We don't count. We got that. But it's impactful, and it's environmentally impactful. The development, and Esmeralda has no plans, never on their site plan did they say, well, we need solar. Well, it's mandated by law that we have this type of development. It's huge.
Thank you, Gary. Appreciate your expertise. Right.
Regina.
Okay, Regina Beery again. I do love the term entitlements. Could you tell me when the last environmental impact report was done on that site? What year?
2008. I believe it was 2008.
2008.
And then 2 addendums since then.
Well, just the environment itself, our climate has changed a lot since then. What used to be on that site? Can you tell me what was on the site in the past?
I'm not prepared to say all of those details tonight.
Oh, you don't want to talk about the potential toxins?
No, the agenda was agendized to talk
Okay, I'm
about the
just
process.
asking if you
So
were willing to
there's-
tell us what used to be on that site.
Yeah, there's a town hall with the videos online that goes into pretty, from the developer, detailed information.
But you don't want to speak to that at this moment.
I don't have it in front of me.
If I
I'm
can
not prepared
interrupt
to-
for a second, I just want to let you know, this is information that we do want to get to you. So one of the things I did work out with Devin, that she's going to do a groundwater and soil contamination workshop. So this will be on Zoom, just trying to get these questions answered. So, I do hear you. That would be a good opportunity to ask the developers. Of course, they weren't the landowners or the people who maybe made the mess. So, they're coming from their perspective. But I'm just going to let you know there is an opportunity coming up.
Okay,
that-
and I've got to say
Tentatively early May.
to all of you that will be making decisions, 2008's a long time ago. Please don't even consider an addendum. It's absurd. It's absurd. Please, just get a new environmental impact report.
Well, and I want to reiterate what Councilmember Marquez says. I've been in contact with Devin also on this workshop, and it's going to have a lot of information. It's going to be similar to the town hall. She is trying to answer as many questions. So please, we will have a link to it, and we will get it out. It'll be on our public page, and people log on to it.
So
You're
I've
going
got more to
get
say, and I'm
information.
losing time.
Okay.
All of those shop spaces in this complex are going to hurt our small local businesses. We have empty spaces already in town. Why would we want to make a huge pull away from our town and put more shop spaces? Golf course, any sort of landscaping, more water. We don't have enough water for us, probably. And we already have 2 complexes going in. Please, just get the environmental impact report done. I want to know if I'm ever going to be able to garden in 15 years because of this. It's going to be horrible for everyone if we get rationed just because we overbuild. We can't suck the aquifer dry.
Right.
It's got to last. We all have kids. We care about our environment.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Regina for city council next.
Regina, just really quick, I want to say thank you for that. And those are all questions that we have as well, and we want to answer when we have the ability to. This is not the time we haven't been able to yet, because things haven't been submitted to the council to be able to talk about yet. So we all have a lot of the same concerns and look forward to that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Are we done?
Yeah.
My name is Mary Ann Brigham. How's it going? So, all of the years that I sat up there on the dais, my main job was to listen to and protect the citizens of Cloverdale. How are you, the council, and the city manager, and the city attorney, how are you protecting our community? If in the future we have contamination issues, the city will be responsible. A primary example of a municipality facing legal action years after allowing residential development on contaminated land is the case of the Agricultural Street landfill in New Orleans. Perfect example. I've got a list of examples of just what we're handling today here in this town. Okay, the development. In the 1970s and 80s, the city of New Orleans and its housing authority developed residential communities, specifically the Golden Plaza, Press Park neighborhoods, along with a school on a smaller 95 acres. That was formerly the Agriculture Street landfill. The mistake they made. The site was a landfill that operated from 1909 until 1950 and illegally thereafter. Despite the city's knowledge of its previous use, municipal authorities permitted residential construction and the land was not properly remediated for residential zoning. The lawsuit Years later, in 1994, years later, in 1994, the EPA declared it a Superfund site after discovering high levels of arsenic, lead, and other hazardous material. Residents reported high cancer rates and chronic illnesses. In 2022, a state district judge ruled that 5,000 residents were entitled to $75 million from the city of New Orleans. Now, there's more. The city was found liable because of what? They failed to disclose, failed to inform the homeowners that their homes were built on a toxic dump, with many marketing the homes to residents. Failure to act. The contamination was known to local officials long before the EPA designated a Superfund site. Just construction preceded and residents lived there for decades. And I'd have to say, if I was contacted in a lawsuit, I would have to admit that I was well aware of the contamination on that property. Every single person up here is well aware that it's contaminated. It's still contaminated. For God's sakes, don't be so naive as to take that parkland. That's where a whole bunch of the shit got dumped. That was bad. So absolutely don't be so naive as to accept that park, because they're just trying to dump a part of the contamination on the city. So don't be stupid here. Okay, so we failed to disclose, failed to act. Other examples, Philadelphia, 1995, 1981. Wheatfield, New York, 2017, a lawsuit was filed, same thing. Soil contamination was discovered. I got about 30 of these examples, and I'm not going to bore you with them. The only way you can protect and serve the way you're supposed to is if you demand an EIR. Don't just ask for one, demand it. Because the only way we're going to know. This is not something you ask. It's so obvious to everybody here, and myself included, that we are so past the point of needing an ERI. It's ridiculous to even think about not doing it. Now, I'm going to just say very carefully and very quickly that I don't want to end up in 15 or 20 years having a whole bunch of 5-year-olds that have played on the ground growing spare eyeballs or something, and then suing the city for $150 million. We can fix this. It's so simple. Just get the friggin' EIR. What is the matter?
Did you bring it to council? Yeah. Do you guys have, is there any more comments out there before I bring it to council? Okay. Go ahead.
I have a question for Attorney Alex Mogg. You keep saying it's up to the council about, if we end up asking for a new EIR. Well, I'd like to know who decided in the first place that we were going to use one from 2008.
Well, that's the existing one on the project. So when you do an addendum, it would be based off of what was previously approved. And so that is what will come to the council, and the council will make a decision. Just like when you've approved addendums in the past for other projects or mitigated net decks, those are all decisions that came to the council. The city the staff never certified the document. It comes to the council for your review and decision on what's approved or not.
Gotcha.
Well, my question is, who decided that we'd use something from 2008 rather than a new?
So a decision to not do an addendum needs to be based on the substantial evidence. And so that evidence needs to be prepared. Documents need to be prepared using studies and experts and reviewing the old addendum and seeing those mitigations. Are they still accurate? Are they not accurate? You can't just decide. If you just, say, we think there's been a lot of change. If there's been a lot of change, we want to do that. The decision needs to be based on substantial evidence. And so the process develops that substantial evidence for the council to then make their decision and say, look, we read this report and there have been changes on the project site. There have been new impacts that weren't studied. The circumstances have changed in the surrounding area. But there needs to be a basis in the record for that decision. And so that's what the addendum does, the draft document does. You then review it and you say, we've seen in here that there's changes or there's not. And then the council makes its decision.
No, go ahead.
I do want to just address the community that, we hear you, I hear you. There's been some comments made by Vice Mayor calling a community member untruthful and a clickbaiter, and I do want to speak out against that. I think it's inappropriate. I think it's a violation of our code of ethics in our governance manual. So just want to mention that, it's not okay to just invalidate community members for speaking on valid points and making valid points about this. So I do want to call that out. Pardon?
Oh, you continue.
Okay. So question to the city attorney. I think, the question that everyone's kind of bringing up is about the EIR. And there will be a time that the council, when it comes to the council, that will be the council's time to make that determination. So it's something that, people are requesting now, but if everyone can just understand what the process is, that there is a time that will be looked at and when we have all the information, just so everyone's on the same page and when you can kind of bring your concerns together, bring your concerns to us, especially because we're learning a lot. There's certain information that we have from the developers, certain information we're getting from city staff, but there's a lot of information that we're getting from the public. And I think that's very, very much needed here. So just want to make sure that I validate all the information that you guys are bringing, especially the women of this community. And I really want to give a shout out to y'all. Thank you.
Councilmember Lasky?
Yeah, Jennifer, thank you for doing your in-depth research. We are listening. I just want to note that it's not falling on deaf ears.
We are all listening, and we appreciate everything you guys do because this is our community. And I know it's a tough process, and I know a lot of people think that we aren't listening, but there is a process, and that's why we're here explaining it. That there's a lot that we haven't been able to do or take any action on, actually anything basically other than checkboxing to get them to the point that they can submit paperwork. So right now, all the stuff that we've argued about and things going on, there's nothing in front of us to talk about. We don't have anything of proof yet. So until they submit it, we don't have anything to say we want this. And that's why, in my opinion, it's taken almost too long for them because it's causing uproar, and there's no reason for it yet until the paperwork is submitted so that we can actually see it and then come back and say this is what we think should happen. So I apologize if there's any miscommunications. I try not to answer too much on social media because all it does is turn into this little rumor mill and haymaker show out here where people want to talk stuff. So what I'm going to do is just, excuse me, it's my turn. So when false information is given, sometimes we have to slow it down a little bit, and that's just the way it goes. I try not to, but that is what that was, and I will continue to do that when it's necessary. We will see that in one of our next items that comment was made about. But Jennifer, we thank you for everything that you do. You and I have had conversations. You know where a lot of my thoughts are on this, and I can't wait to bring them when it's time.
I apologize to her.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And, I don't know how many times we can say this. And Alex, one of the questions I had for you was at what point in this process can council start asking questions? Because, and I'll let you get to that. Everybody that comes up here and has a question, like I said, I'm just going to echo this. We live in this community too. This is my community. I moved to Cloverdale because it's a small town. I come from a small town. I know exactly how people want it and how they like it, and that's how I like it. That's why I'm here. That's why I ran for council, to keep it that way. Just like previous council member Brigham said, you know what I mean? We want this town the way it is. We want it to be successful, and we want to nitpick the living daylights out of this thing. when we receive it. We haven't received it, so we're hearing everybody. So by sitting up here and bashing us, say council's doing nothing, and you know what, you're right, you're not right on that. We are, believe me, we're chomping at the bit to ask questions. I have a list of questions I'm devising daily, whether it's from, so I don't have social media, but I see it on social media. I get screenshots of social media from anybody, emails. Believe me, we are putting that down. And there's going to be a lot of questions out there. Please take advantage of the workshop that's coming out from Devin. She's going to explain more. We don't know until we have the proof in front of us and we can sit and analyze it and talk as a group and as a council making the biggest decision in Cloverdale. We get it. So please bear with us. We have the questions too. Alex, at what point can council start actually asking questions?
So council can ask questions. Basically, once there's an application, I mean, you could ask questions now, but part of the delays I heard someone mention about addenda, the project is these draft documents, if the applicant makes a change to where a building is proposed to be located, that triggers having to go back and update some of the draft documents. And so that's what's causing delays. Once that's all finalized to present something to the council, council can ask questions and provide feedback. The decision for council will come at a notice public hearing. So their council decision won't happen until that hearing, but questions could happen earlier once those things are finalized, I think.
Yeah, so just to clarify, folks, I mean, there is going to be a hearing for this. It's going to be a public hearing. Will it be a long night? Absolutely, because you know what? There's not going to be a 3-minute thing. I want to hear what everybody has to say on this project because I'm as concerned about it as everybody sitting in this room. So bear with us. Please show up to these hearings and ask your questions, or we're probably going to echo them. You know what I mean? So thank you. Just please have patience with the process. That's all I'm asking.
And Miss Michelle, she had her hand up for a while.
Oh, I did not see it.
I just have a question.
Could you get a microphone, please, or come down?
Michelle Winterbottom, Holy. I just have a question on the public hearings, and I want to make sure that the public hearing notices are mailed to all the residents within Cloverdale, and that goes for the town hall meetings as well, because they need to be.
Michelle, the town hall is going to be online. It's going to be a Zoom meeting, and there will be a link to it.
That's not right. The town hall cannot have it on Zoom because everyone in town does not have Zoom.
Okay.
So you need to have it open to the public, and on Zoom it is not open to the public.
Point taken.
And the same with the public hearings.
Okay.
And the notices need to be sent to each resident.
Thank you. All right. Yeah.
So we, public hearing notices under law are sent 300 feet within the property site. When it's over a certain number of house residents, it gets published in the newspaper instead. The city, of course, advertises through its social media channels as well when a public hearing is going to be occurring, and we'll certainly do that for this meeting as well, for whenever that is scheduled, for both the Planning Commission and the City Council hearing.
Good. Thank you.
So you aren't going to do that? You aren't going to do any mailing? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it will be put on our social media of the time and date for it. And
that's BS.
Okay.
Good evening. I'm Shirley Davis. I think there's a very simple way of doing this. Can't you put a little announcement in your water bill?
Mm-hmm.
That's paper. Everybody has that, okay?
Yes.
Kevin, is that something the city can accommodate?
Yeah, we can look into that.
Okay.
It has a long lead time.
Thank you.
You can't mail it to everybody in town. I did it all the time. It takes no time at all.
Thank you. All right. Any other comments from the council? Seeing none, not you, do you have?
I guess, it comes down to communication. This is an issue about communication. I think we can definitely do a better job at communication. The Cloverdale Connect is one of the things that was decided to limit this year. I think that's a travesty for communication to our community. People do read the Cloverdale Connect, and that's one way to get out to a lot of the folks that don't have internet. So certainly, I think, sending a letter about this hearing can be considered. I mean, it was a letter in the water bill, right, that came with that.
Yep.
Sort of.
That's what we're talking, water bill.
So I think that can be done.
Yep.
And would that be something, Attorney, that we'd recommend in a future agenda item?
Yeah, so this is just not an action item, but if that's something the council wants, I'd recommend a future agenda item so the council can decide.
And also, we can request to have that published in the Cloverdale Connect or kind of use any means that we do have.
As a future agenda item, you could request a discussion of noticing.
Excellent. Thank you.
There you go. All right, any other comments from the public, from the council? Okay, seeing none, let's move on to the consent calendar. All items under the consent calendar will be considered together by one action of the city council unless any council member or member of the public requests that an item be removed and considered separately. Do we have anybody that wants to pull any items?
I'd like to pull item F1 and item F2.
Okay, F1 and F2, okay. And anybody from the public? I see. Yes. Would you like to pull an item?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd like F5 pulled, Dana Star.
Yeah.
Dana Star, star spelled with 2 R's.
All righty.
Make a motion for F3 and F4.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Okay, let's move on to F1.
1 second, for the record, we had, who was the motion and the seconder?
That was Vice Mayor, and then second was Councilmember Lasky.
Okay. Did you want to, we do a vote for those?
Yeah, let's do a vote.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion passes for item F3 and F4.
Okay, let's pull F1, discuss F1. Consider a resolution approving an amended contract with Four Leaf, amending fiscal year 25-26 budget to authorize funds for planning service associated with the Esmeralda project in the amount of $137,353 and authorizing the city manager to execute amended contract. Kevin, would you like to speak to this, please?
Yes, please, Mayor. This item is a contract between the city and Four Leaf Planning Services in a total amount of $137,000. We have hired Four Leaf to do a lot of the review of the Esmeralda project, as the community has been discussing, obviously, all night. It's important that the city have a contract with Four Leaf directly so that they report to us and they don't feel any pressure from the developer to make certain findings or to amend things towards in the developer's favor, and they report to us directly. If it wasn't clear in the staff report, I apologize for that, but this is paid through a deposit fund, which Esmeralda does pay us. So the purpose of this is really so that the contract is between us and the consultant directly. The money that is used to pay it is paid through our deposit fund through Esmeralda, as is all the attorney time, the engineers, and everyone else is working on the city's behalf reviewing the Esmeralda project.
Any questions from the public? Seeing none.
Hold on, I see a lot of head shaking, and I just want to make sure everyone understands what he just said. This is what it looks like, right? All right, so this is on here. It looks like we're paying $137 for Esmeralda. $137,000, I apologize. $137,000, I apologize. We're not paying that, but we want to have the contract with the people that are looking into this instead of the developer so that we can control it and know that they're not working for that developer. They reimburse us for every penny that goes into this. But we have to have the contract first, and then they reimburse us. That's how this has worked. We have a reimbursement fee or fund, but it's not this high. So we have to do, this is how it works. We have to have the contract ourselves. Esmeralda reimburses us for every single thing that this city does or puts into their project right now, whether it's attorney time, city manager time, planner time, engineer time, anything that goes on. we're reimbursed for it. Okay, so it's costing us zero. It is costing you zero.
We
But
also
it
have
has
a-
to go this way so that we know they're working for us and not working for them.
We also have a reimbursement agreement with them that's outlined. Yes.
Look it up, everybody. Let's see if we trust them.
What about the 2 wells that aren't producing enough?
That's not what we do right now.
Nope, that's not the item we're talking about.
If Dana wants to
Yep, Dana, go ahead.
Dana Starr, thank you for clarifying the billing process on that, because that wasn't clear when I read the
I
agenda item.
apologize for that. It will be more clear next time.
My question to you is, do you pay these fees as you go by using city funds, and then when do they reimburse you? Or are they, how's the timing worked as far as the funding goes? Or do they only reimburse you if they are approved in, like, what's the process? I'm an accountant, so retired.
They
but-
provide a deposit account that we use to pay the invoices for all the various consultants. Our AP keeps tabs on that. And as
You've already received the deposit?
yes, and as that drains down or lowers, we request additional funding.
Okay, because I did have questions on the math that they provided about the Phase 1 and asking as far as the four-leaf goes. They said Phase 1, they're estimating 29,922, but then they showed invoices of 28,400. I'm going, well, why is that? Because it says Phase 1's complete as of January 26th of 26. And it makes no sense to me. And then I read in there that 10,000 of it was already approved. And I'm going, well, then shouldn't this revision they're asking for only be for 125,000, because they've already gotten the approval for the first 10, rather than asking for the 137 on top of the 10 that apparently was approved already. So I'm just looking at the math going, it doesn't make sense from an accountant perspective.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. We had a contract 410, which we used, and this is in addition to that.
No, they say that the 10 is included in that.
Okay.
And they show the billings from September through January, using up, takes the first 3 months or so, 3.5 months to use up the $10,000. And that's included in their calculation, every single invoice, which, again, I say, the 10,000 was already approved, and it looks like a duplicate of trying to collect more money. And you're telling me it's not really that the city's going to be out anything, because they're going to cover it anyway. But still, it's not clear from an accounting perspective.
Kevin can,
Yeah, we'll have our finance managers here, and we'll look into that and report back.
Okay, thank you.
yep. Susie, did you get that?
Isn't amended.
Okay.
Say that. Or-
Okay, on F1, any other comment from council or outside or from public?
I have a question. Okay, so Esmeralda pays into account, so there's already all the money in that account to pay for this?
No, not yet.
So we're going to pay, the city's going to pay it, and then when are we going to get reimbursed?
We haven't spent any of the money requested in this scope of work. As Four Leaf invoices us, we will draw down on what we have, and then as it gets lower, we'll request additional funds. This isn't a one-time thing. This is going to be invoices that are submitted over a period of time.
So my question is, shouldn't they put money in the fund so we can draw from that, so that we're not waiting to get reimbursed from them?
They do put money in the fund.
But my question was, is there enough money in that fund right now to cover this? And you're saying no.
There's not, but there will be as we start to invoice, and as that balance drops down, we request additional funding and get it replenished.
And for the council's hopefully peace of mind, our reimbursement agreement with them says when we request additional funds, if you don't provide it, we'll stop work. And so we won't be, going $137,000 hoping we get reimbursed. You know, if the fund goes down to $5,000 and we ask them for more money and they don't give it, we'll stop work on the project. Just again, for the council's peace of mind, there's language in our agreement that says the reimbursement payments under this agreement shall in no way influence the actions of the city, that it's not an entitlement. They can't, based on these payments, it's not a promise that their project will be approved or anything like that. So if the council decides to terminate, to vote no or do anything, they can't ask for their money back, right? This is money that is to cover their costs. It's equivalent to if someone applies for a conditional use permit in the city. We have a fee for that and they pay that fee, and that covers all of the city's costs, the city's estimated costs. This is such a unique project. We don't have an established fee for big projects. Instead, people submit deposits because the costs aren't as known. We can't estimate the same we can with a normal project. We might know, okay, we know a CUP for takes about this much staff time, this much whatever time, and engineering time, and so the fee should be $1,500. We don't have that ability to estimate that here, and so we have the deposit account instead to make sure that the city's costs are fully covered.
Just one last question. Have we, or is there the potential that we are spending any of our general fund money to cover something that will likely get reimbursed?
When it gets drawn down, we request additional money. Now, I can't say 100% that we haven't, well, maybe Susie can.
Yeah, I was going to say we have not spent any general fund money. Now, not to say that there couldn't be an oversight or that there couldn't be like a timing where something comes in on June 30th and it's a big bill and there's not enough funds, but then we would request the funds right away.
Okay. Thank you, Susie. I appreciate that. And that's just one thing I hope that we can avoid is keeping our general fund clean.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's our practice. Okay. As Susie said, occasionally that could happen, but.
Thank you for your clarification.
All right, no other questions I'm seeing from the public, none from council. Do I have a motion to approve? Oh, Jennifer Sullivan, I'm sorry.
So if I read the invoices correct, it was at the end of 2025, they owed the city $32,000 or something like that. Have they paid us that amount of money? And why such a large amount? If you're just going to do it in increments anyways, why don't we kind of match those increments, if that makes sense?
I'm not sure. We are billing lots of different consultants to this fund, so we need to have a sufficient amount. Alex's time, the city attorney's time, the development review engineer's time, and so we need to make sure there's sufficient funds in there. I'm not sure if that's what you're asking, but we...
Well, I mean, so my question is why not just have them give us $150,000? Or bill in increments? If you spend, I don't know, $30,000 one month, I don't know, maybe have the council approve $30,000 instead of this big chunk all at once.
We've asked for what we thought we would be forecasting as, AP bills, and it's been covering, but we keep a close eye on what the balance is, and we request additional funding when it starts getting low. I don't know if that's answering your question, but that's our practice.
Are they whole? Are they whole? Have they paid us what they owe?
Yeah, they have. They've paid everything.
Okay.
One question, Kevin, the turnaround on Esmeralda, if we say the city requests funds, what's our turnaround? What's our timeline on actually receiving it from Esmeralda? Is it?
I would have to ask Shannon, but they've been very responsive. Okay. They've always sent the money. I don't know how maybe Susie knows the answer to the turnaround time.
we bill at the end of each month, and the bills are due in 10 days, so.
And
we-
they're making it, and it's getting there?
Yeah,
Okay.
and typically we'll send them an email saying, hey, it's getting low.
Okay.
And I think I'm going off of memory, but I think they usually send $50,000 chunks at a time.
Okay.
So that's what we try. We try to make sure that there's at least 20,000 in their deposit account at all times, so.
Okay, thank you. All right. Any other questions from the public or council? Okay. Seeing none? All right, I need a motion for approval of F1. Okay, go ahead. Would you like to motion?
I'll move to approve.
Okay, have a second?
I second that motion.
All right, Mike, did you get that? Vice Mayor and Councilmember Morgenstern. Motion passes. Let's move on to next.
Still got to vote it.
Let's do a vote, yeah. Sorry.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, move on to F2. Consider budget amendment for the establishment of a community garden. Bring it to council.
Do you want me to?
Well, I did pull the item, so I can just give a little background about why I pulled it. Did have a discussion with City Manager Thompson today, and it sounds like things with the community garden are going to be off to a great start. It looks like the group of residents will be sort of organizing over the next few weeks, hopefully. Happy to help out with that. And, I think maybe this might not be on track for this summer. I think that's kind of a sort of big ask that, the seeds are not in the ground yet. So it's like, if I'm at my garden at home, I'm got to buy starter plants at this point. So I think my concern was just that the process moves along to have that community committee formed, and then that committee kind of can come up with some of the plans on how they want to see the garden. So, the community garden really is by the community. So I was happy to have our discussion today and see how things are moving along. So that's why I would be in favor of the amendment, knowing that it's going to move along that process.
Any other questions from the council?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I was just curious, because it seems like the city staff is kind of coming up with ideas for this garden. Are people going to have to pay for their garden plot, or how's that going to work out?
That's definitely one of the questions that we're going to be looking at. We're going to be putting together a management plan. We do know in Windsor, there is a nominal fee that can help offset some of the water costs. Maybe we have a program that people can qualify not to pay under certain circumstances. But that's one of the things that Councilmember Marquez has been kind of discussing. We need to get organized with the people side of it. I know Superintendent Galvan is anxious to get going. It's already April 8th. So we want to not inhibit him to start working on that, but we also want to, on the separate track, work with the folks who are going to be involved with this, come up with all the ideas, bring that back to council. Will we charge? Just all the ins and outs of the details and in a written document, and have you review that and approve it. And we have a great example in Windsor, and they've had an established garden for several years, so we can model some of the stuff off of them and customize it to what we need.
And their pricing at the Windsor Garden is $10 per 4 square feet. So if you have like a 4x4, that would be $40. 4x8 would be $80. They do offer people discounts, but they found out that doing it for free wasn't always the best option. People don't put maybe enough care. So they do a discounted rate at 20% of what the cost would be. So you're paying $8 for a 4x4 thing. So that at least you get a little buy-in. So.
Yeah. And also with this, Hector, on this, where I noticed on the scope on here, you've got purchase of some of the boxes already for the garden when we set it up. If you want to come down and speak to that.
Mr. Mayor? Yeah, so that's the numbers that you see there are just quotes.
Okay.
I got a quote for lumber where we would, if everything goes through, we would be building the boxes in-house by us, by city staff, public works staff. That was just the price of lumber.
Gotcha.
Lumber is very, very expensive.
I
But
think,
we're trying
and I appreciate it. I know that the city staff's really putting their heart and soul into this one. We're also going to have somebody come in and we'll cover the dirt work and get it to where it needs to be also in-house. But I just wanted people to know that the city is putting effort into this. And there's going to be planter boxes down there, and this has the potential of following the model, kind of like Windsor and communication, getting people together. It has the potential to be very successful down there. My one big worry I saw in there was split rail fence. I don't know if split rail fence is going to do it. Well, you're going to have to get probably with, I can talk to some of the community around there and see what they want to say. I don't want to make it look like a compound, but I think we do need to have some more, A, security, and B, there's a lot of creatures that go through there, so I don't want people to put a lot of effort into a garden and all of a sudden come down to harvest and there's nothing but the deer are really fat, you know what I mean? So let's really kick around that fence a little more.
Mr. Mayor, the other thing we were hoping to is maybe get some donations so that, maybe someone would want to donate the shed so that's just to get Hector going, and we're still going to be seeking donations.
All right. Any other questions? Questions from the public? Yes.
Hello there. My name is Sonia Williams, and I'm just curious to know, I know that you had started talking about this meeting or so ago, and you had sent out a questionnaire for people to just give their input on how to develop it. And I wonder, how did you, or who did you send that to? Because I was interested in it, and I didn't see it show up anywhere, so I was just curious about how that process works.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, council requested us to do a survey to the community. It was a short one, only a couple weeks. We presented it at the last meeting. We posted the link. It was a SurveyMonkey link. We posted it on both of our social medias, Instagram and Facebook. We posted it on the front page of our website. We posted it in the kiosks at, I believe we had one here, but we definitely had one in front of City Hall. We also posted it at this parks. Hector's crew posted it at the various kiosks at the entrance of both of our various parks. I'm not sure exactly which ones, but I know Ferber for sure, City Park for sure, that have kiosks. And we posted it in front of the large kiosk that the Chamber of Commerce has access to in front of City Hall as well. So that one, so basically two were at City Hall.
Okay.
But if anybody in the public has ideas of how we can disperse information like that, as our public information officer, I'm very interested to hear, because I want to get as many folks involved as possible with those surveys.
Yeah, I just want to say in general, with the internet, everything feels a bit far-flung. And with the old newspaper, you could just see it right in front of you. And so that's definitely something worth figuring out. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, no other public comment?
Wait, can we ask?
Yes.
How do we find out more about that? Is there stuff on the website, the city website, about the garden?
So the garden survey closed. It was a short-term.
Not about the survey, about the garden in general and getting involved. How does one?
Yeah, so at the last meeting, council gave direction to staff to come back with a budget amendment and a map of sorts. So that's what you can see in the staff report. To come back at a further date, a date uncertain, with a management plan. The management plan will consist of how we're going to operate it, different groups that we worked with, and how, because we want this to be something that's successful for years to come. To do that takes time. So we'll definitely be putting out information on how we'll interact with those groups that provided information in the survey. And anybody that's interested, you can always reach city clerk at ci.cloverdale.ca.us. Got your information to the city manager, but anybody else who's interested, either online, watching later, or in the public now, we're very interested in having folks volunteer or help out. Just need to get your information.
And to clarify, the city clerk, you are the central hub for volunteers and committee members, or have we established that?
As the public information officer, I'm definitely the liaison between getting information, and as the city clerk, information from the public to the council and staff. So I'm definitely the intake on that as far as who will be monitoring this program for years to come. It's not something that the city clerk would typically do.
And that would probably be the
But that's going to
committee.
that's going to be addressed in the management program as far as how council and staff wants our recommendation and how staff wants that to look, how council wants that to look going forward. But in the interim, yes, any members of the public that want to provide information regarding the garden, you can definitely contact me and I'll get you to the right person or get you added to the list of folks when we go to build this management plan if you want to be a part of it.
Also, real quick, I don't want to sell out Park Superintendent, but he is all over town. Hector's very knowledgeable about this, and he is everywhere in town. I see him 10 times a day. If you see him, he would be more than happy probably to sit and talk to you, explain about where the garden is, one, and probably the progress that we're making on it. So feel free to do that, and also email any one of the council members, and we will answer you. Thank you very much. Okay, any other comments from public? Seeing none, do we have a motion for F2?
I'd like to move F2.
I second that motion.
Unfortunately, we do need to have it read by title only since it was pulled off the consent calendar.
I would like to move to adopt a resolution entitled "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Cloverdale approving a budget amendment to the fiscal year 25-26 budget in the amount of $25,000 for the creation of a community garden at Ferber Park and authorizing the city manager to execute related purchases."
Perfect.
I second that.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Okay.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay. Let's move into,
Dana Starr.
Yes.
Pulled F5.
F5. That's what I'm moving into, F5. So let's move on to item F5. Ms. Starr?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
F5 is draft minutes for March 25th. Under Section B, the public comments, I see missing information. First item is Rob Kozlowski. It says he spoke, ... If that could be completed before approval? That would be-
We actually addressed that. That was brought to my attention earlier today, and we've already addressed that.
Yeah, because I haven't checked it since
No
last
worries.
night.
Yeah, the wrong set of minutes were put up on the initial publication.
Okay.
But that section was.
And so Annabelle is also completed then with her ...
Correct.
And then the third item is what I spoke. And on that, two things. One is spelling of my last name is 2 R's, just for future information. And it was spelled with 1 R. But the point I want to make is that I specifically said I was making 2 points of conversation. And the first one is documented in the minutes. The second one was ignored. And the second one is that I brought up the governance manual and section 8.7. And there's no, I'd like to have that reference included in that I had 2 points before approval for those minutes.
So I can add that, council. You can still approve it by amendment, by amending the text, knowing that I will note those changes.
Can we define the language at this time?
So we do take action minutes, so it will state, as of right now, it says Dana Starr. I will update it to include both R's. Spoke regarding concerns for the potential Esmeralda development, and similarly to other ones will be spoke regarding concerns for
The governance manual,
Okay.
section 8.7,
8.7.
dress code.
Section
Thank you.
8.7. Yep. Thank you, Dana.
So what I was saying to council, you don't have to wait till the next meeting if you don't like. We can, make a motion to approve the minutes as amended, and I'll make those amendments.
I move to approve the item as amended. F5.
Hold on, I want to open it to the public real quick. Is there any public comment on that item? Okay, seeing none. Thank you. Continue with the motion.
I'd like to move F5 as amended.
I second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion passes 5-0. And Brian, before you move on, Mayor, before you move on, for any of the members of the public, I do want to, I didn't announce it tonight, but there are little green cards up there, the public comment cards. If you are ever concerned about how I spell your name, because I am purely guessing based on what I hear, please fill one of those out and I'll make sure to spell it correctly for them.
Perfect. All right, let's move into H, new business. Consider the following resolutions. These resolutions will need to be read, but this one also has myself and Vice Mayor and Councilmember Marquez. Marquez and Vice Mayor are Zone 2. They will have to recuse themselves while we do this, and I will recuse myself from Zone 3. So we can move into Zone 1 on this one, which is...
Mr. Mayor, we have the presenter from Coastland Engineering.
Oh, go ahead.
Brief presentation.
Yeah, have at it.
Cool. My name's Jenny Melman, and I'm with DCCM. We've been doing this for several years. We used to be Coastland Engineering. But this is a presentation about the city's landscaping and lighting assessment district. And that provides funding for the city maintenance of landscaping and lighting improvements that were constructed for the benefit of private development, but they're on in the city's public right-of-way. So there are now 7 zones. Each zone is managed independently in terms of expenditures and assessments. Every year, state law requires that the city conduct certain annual proceedings in order to levy assessments in the upcoming fiscal year. These regulations require that an annual engineer's report be prepared, and certain proceedings are undertaken over 3 council meetings. The first council meeting occurred on January 28th this year, when the city council appointed DCCM as the engineer of work. At the second meeting, that's tonight, the council receives the preliminary annual engineer's report, typically adopts resolutions of intent to levy and collect assessments, and sets the date for the public hearing. At the third meeting, the council conducts a public hearing and then adopts resolutions authorizing the levying of the assessments, and this meeting is proposed for June 10th. So I was going to summarize this year's proposed changes to the annual, or to LAD, and I'll just point out this table. The total proposed budget for the entire assessment district this year is $312,284. This is a 6% increase from last year's budget. Looking at the individual zones, budgets decreased for zones 1, 2, and 3. Budgets increased for zones 4, 5, 6, and 7. But you'll see how small the actual annual budgets are. So these increases amount to the amount like $500, $700. They're not big increases. Assessments are proposed to increase for zones 2 and 7. The assessments are proposed to decrease for zones 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And the specific amounts are shown in that table under assessments. Just reviewing the sources of budget revenue, for the most part, all these zones are self-funded. There is a general fund that is used in Zone 2, which is Vintage Meadows. That general fund contribution pays for the general benefit of the public using the Vintage Meadows Park. In terms of reserve, the city has a policy to maintain a minimum reserve fund balance of 25% of operating expenses. This year, we show that all the zones are meeting that target of 25%. And the last thing, every zone has a maximum annual assessment that limits the amount that can be assessed. Every year, to account for inflation, there's an increase in that maximum annual assessment that is basically corresponds with the consumer price index. This year, the past annual year was 3%, so we are increasing all the maximum annual assessments by 3%. So basically, that's it. I'm happy to answer any questions about our proposed budgets. Otherwise, there are 3 resolutions before you, separated into groups to avoid potential conflicts of interest.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Great. Any questions from council? Anybody from public? Okay, seeing none. Do I have a motion for the first resolution for zones 1, 4, 5, 6, and 7, read by title only?
I'll make a motion for the resolution by title only, resolution of the City Council of the City of Cloverdale intent to levy and collect annual assessments, preliminarily approve the annual engineer's report for fiscal year 26-27 for the City of Cloverdale Landscaping and Lighting Assessment District and setting the time and date of the public hearing for zones 1, 4, 5, 6, and 7 pursuant to the Landscape and Lighting Act of 1972.
Second.
Okay. Vote.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Land, seconded by Councilmember Marquez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion passes 5-0.
Zone 2, we have 2 recusals of this.
Just one second. I need to note the time, so hold on.
Okay.
34.
And just to note for the record, that's Vice Mayor Lands and Councilmember Marquez have recused themselves because they live within the
Live
zone.
in that, in Zone 2, yes. Thank you, Alex. Okay, do I have a motion by title only?
I'll make a motion, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Cloverdale with intent to levy and collect annual assessments, preliminarily approve the annual engineer's report for fiscal year 2026 to 2027 for the City of Cloverdale Landscaping and Lighting Assessment District, setting the time and date of the public hearing for Zone 2 pursuant to the Landscaping and Lighting Act of 1972.
I second that motion.
All right, to a vote.
Thank you, Mayor. Motion was made by Councilmember Lasky, seconded by Councilmember Morgenstern. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Motion
All opposed, say nay, with Vice Mayor Lands and Councilmember Marquez recusing themselves.
Perfect.
Motion passes 3-0.
All
2
right.
recusals.
Come on back, boys. All right, I'm out.
All right, let the record reflect, Mayor Wheeler has left the dais as he is a resident of Zone 3. Do we have any public comments or comments from the dais? Seeing none. Seeing none, do we have anyone to read a resolution?
I'll make a motion for the resolution of the City Council of the City of Cloverdale intent to levy and collect annual assessments, preliminary approve the annual engineer's report for fiscal year 2026 to 2027 for the City of Cloverdale Landscaping and Lighting Assessment District and setting the time and date of the public hearing for Zone 3 pursuant to the Landscaping and Lighting Act of 1972.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Motion was made by Councilmember Lasky, seconded by Councilmember Marquez. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. Motion
Pass.
passes.
Go ahead, sorry.
I know you're. Motion passes 4-0 with Mayor Wheeler abstaining.
And it's a 8:37 timestamp. Mayor Wheeler, coming back.
Thank you, council. Okay, let's move into item H2, consider adoption of a resolution amending the city personnel system to update the classification specification for the assistant city manager position.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm requesting that we amend the job description for the Assistant City Manager and then get authorization to start recruitment. The big change really is the Community Development Director position or title has been removed. My thought here is after about a year and a half of just kind of assessing what we need, and I think that this job description is very general. So I want someone who can really work on a lot of different things and just be able to do project management and just all kinds of different things. So I felt like it would be better to just make it an assistant city manager position. The salary is the same as what it currently is in the salary schedule. So it does also include planning, but it also includes a lot of other things. I just think like if we can get a real good generalist who can do a lot of different things, it'd be super helpful. We're very lean in staff right now, and things are really, there's a lot more projects coming down, especially with DD, and I think we just need someone who can really help out in a lot of different areas.
Cool. Comments from the council?
I support it and do appreciate your recommendation here to our city manager to include the skills that you have listed.
Thanks.
Nothing. Councilmember Lasky? Nope. Vice Mayor?
Thank you for all your hard work for the past year and a half and figuring out what you truly needed. With a lean budget, it's hard to just hire 3 or 4 assistants and just throw money at the wall. So you've done a phenomenal job keeping us afloat and finding out what would benefit the city the most. So I appreciate this.
Thank you, Kevin. You've kept us rolling. It was a transition in. When the previous city manager left, you took the reins and ran with it. So that was all part of the negotiations there of, hey, you're going to let us know when you need some help in there. You've jumped up and said that, and I think it's going to be a great transition. So yeah, I support it 100%.
Thank you.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion for resolution by title only. Adopt a resolution titled, "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Cloverdale updating classification specification for the position of Assistant City Manager."
I second.
Thank you. That motion was made by Vice Mayor Land, seconded by Councilmember Lasky. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Perfect. Motion passes 5-0.
All righty. Thank you. And, okay, item I, council member reports.
Thank you, Mayor. Council member report. I did mention earlier about the groundwater and soil contamination workshop that will be hosted by the Esmeralda Land Company. That will be tentatively happening in early May, so we'll share some information out to the community, and just wanted to create an opportunity where folks can bring their concerns and have a discussion about that with the developers, proposed developers. Wednesday, April 1st, I did attend the LAFCO hearing, which is the Local Agency Formation Commission. The hearing was for a proposal for the formation of the Alexander Valley Water District. And I can report that no action was taken, although direction was given by the commissioners on what they hope to see in place for next month's continued proposal. This morning, earlier today, actually this afternoon, I did attend the ECO Group. It's the Equity Community Organization. This is sponsored by the Healthcare Foundation, hosted at La Familia Sana. This is a group of bilingual and monolingual seniors and residents of Cloverdale that are organizing to really try to identify the needs of the Latino community and share them with the city council. So they're working on putting together a proposal. They'd like to come to the council and propose and present, what the group is doing, and hopefully the city can work with them and create some communication, two-way communication with Spanish-speaking community here in Cloverdale. Some of the needs that they identified today were medical services, transportation, learning English, and then also, inclusion into the community. So I think those are all very important, and I hope that our council does support them. Thank you.
On March 26th, I attended an Ag and Open Space meeting in Santa Rosa. We had a wonderful presentation about forest management. We also had a discussion about possible future acquisitions. On March 30th, the wonderful Hector Galvin, our Public Works and Parks Superintendent, took me on a tour of Soda Springs Open Space, and it was lovely, and the scenery was gorgeous, and it was very memorable.
On Thursday, April 2nd at 9 a.m., I attended the Sonoma Clean Power Board of Directors meeting. We went over our fiscal budget for next year, and if any member of the public is a ratepayer of Sonoma Clean Power, I highly encourage you to go to their website to look at ways to lower your electricity bill. Also, we missed Eric Poland tonight talking about the ambulance. He was ill. That kind of ties into Telecommunicators Week, because I did talk to Jason Jenkins, who is the fire chief of Cloverdale, and tying in all of the 911 services and how the ambulance services are provided to the citizens of Cloverdale. So I encourage the members of the public to come out and listen to Eric's presentation on the 22nd of April.
Nothing to report.
My meeting was canceled. The Northern Sonoma County Air Board was canceled. We did not have a quorum. We'll have one coming up next month. Also attended the Board of Directors meeting legislative for Sonoma County Mayor Council Members Association, looking to see which bills Cal cities are going to be following. The our legislators went on break, so all the verbiage is not there. We're going to have another meeting, and we're going to see which ones we fully support on that. Also, we have coffee with the mayor tomorrow. Myself and city manager will be there. And then we have the Sonoma County Mayor Council Members Association dinner in Healdsburg tomorrow. And then also the State of the City will be on Friday at, I believe, 11 a.m. here right at the CPAC. So there you go.
That was my report.
Sorry.
The newsletter's coming out tomorrow, and thank you, Mike, is really a big instrumental in getting that newsletter out, so I appreciate all his help on that.
Nothing to report. All right.
Real quick, through the mayor.
Yeah.
Does everyone here subscribe to our newsletter? It's almost weekly for all the information of everything going on in Cloverdale. You should go on the website and subscribe for it. Okay?
Yes.
You can email our city clerk. He will sign you up for it with your email so that you get it every week or whenever it's posted. But that's how you get a good way to get your information around here.
May I ask a question or make a comment?
As she comes up here, just to note, the park survey was also in the newsletter.
So it is on me.
Yeah.
I'm just, I meant to add earlier that I don't use Facebook or any of those other social media things, and I don't get a water bill because I'm in an apartment building. So when you are reaching out to residents, I'd like to maybe I guess I just have to pay attention when I'm walking downtown, because it appears that might be the only way I'm going to get access, and see hard copy of things that are coming up.
I recommend signing up. Do you have an email for the newsletter?
I don't have a computer. I use the library, but I can do that. Thank you.
And Dana, do you read the Cloverdale Connect?
Yes, I do get the.
So you do get
the Connect.
information. So
Yeah, it's just it only comes out once a month, and some things happen.
You're right.
Really quick, so I don't want to miss.
Okay. And we do have a bulletin board where we do post analog. The agenda comes out legally. Is there any way that space can be used to?
The newsletter is also posted there. Once we post it and we distribute it digitally, it's printed and posted in a kiosk, the one in front of City Hall.
Thank you, Mike.
But
Attorney reports.
Front of City Hall.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. You have a comment. Go ahead.
I think we could get better readership for our newsletter if we could post it on social media every time it comes out.
All right. No attorney report? All right, thank you, Alex. Okay, do we have council direction on any future agenda items? Okay.
We decided at our last budget meeting that we were getting rid of our code enforcement person, but we're still going to do code enforcement in-house. And in the meantime, I've walked around town almost daily or nightly, and I've seen electrical wires going across the sidewalk where people could trip on them. We just did an ordinance about RVs, and I've seen RVs parked on the street with cones on either side. I've seen all kinds of code enforcement issues, and I was hoping we could have a discussion at the next city council meeting on how we want to move forward and find a good balance with code enforcement, how to get things done in-house, regardless of the fact that we don't have a code enforcement person.
Perfect. Council, will support on that?
I support that.
Yeah, perfect. There it is. Let's put that on the next, our future agenda, Kevin.
Well, I was going to ask Kevin, I know that the next meeting's pretty heavy. Is that enough?
It is, and I do have some things that I can share with you regarding code enforcement. The next meeting, there's a lot of items, so it would be up to you if you want to do that. There's a lot of items.
So I would say, or would you be good with putting it on the following one where there's not such a heavy agenda?
Sure.
Okay. Can you put it on the following?
The first one in May
Next
is a little light, so it might be better.
There you go. Any future agenda?
I apologize. What was the item from earlier that we wanted to talk about? You had brought it up for future agenda item.
Future agenda item. So I would like to request a future agenda item to review the city's real property acquisition policies and to include an independent legal review of the recent property purchase involving Ron Pavelka and Eric Terreri with a focus on conflict of interest compliance and disclosure practices. I could read it again.
Okay. You support?
Is that an item on here, or is it something that
Legal deals with? Yeah.
Well, it's a future agenda item. If you want to discuss whether to hire, it sounds like from that, an outside legal advisor to review that. This isn't a decision on whether or not to do that. It's just whether to put it on the agenda.
It doesn't need to be on the next agenda, but yeah.
I support that.
So, and we've got 3, so can that be on the same agenda, Kevin? D 2 and 3.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
And just for the record, this is a discussion of the plaza purchase and whether the council wants to have an outside review of that to analyze it for.
Yeah, focus on conflict of interest compliance and disclosure practices.
Are we, well, that's just.
I think we should kind of limit that scope a little bit to try to figure out, because we all voted on that and we all spoke about it in closed session, so I'm not quite understanding what the practices that we're looking at.
This was a legal review of the recent property purchase involving Ron Pavelka and Eric Terreri with a focus on conflict of interest compliance and disclosure practices.
I understand you read that 3 times now, but what I'm saying is, what does that mean? Because we did it as a closed session, we did it as in open session.
There was a lot of circumstances around who the real estate agent that the city chose that wasn't in the closed session. And so we'd like to know, and I think this is a request from the public on how that choice was made.
So is the request just to have a report from the city manager about how that person was selected?
I think it would be prudent to have an independent legal review of the recent property purchase involving Ron Pavelka and Eric Terreri with a focus on conflict of interest compliance and disclosure practices.
I'm just trying to figure out here, one thing is if we did vote on that in closed session, what's our legality of bringing that out?
So it can be talked about in front. The contract for purchase came to the city council that had the person who we were hiring as part of that contract listed. So that's something that could talk about. We're no longer negotiating any property sales. It's just not clear to me, is the question how that person was selected.
That's correct, because that wasn't a choice that I was given in any session, if I could say that, and it just happened, and I did inquire about it previously and just never got an answer. So it's about transparency.
Okay, so it sounds like the agenda item is for a report about how this individual was selected by.
A report of an independent legal review.
Okay.
We'd have to have a discussion.
I think you will have the report then, and you can then.
Yeah. What?
You can have the report, and then the council can decide if it wants more information or needs further review.
Right, so to start the process, we would have the report on this, not next meeting, but the next one, the following one after that. Bring it up for your future agenda item. Council will decide if we want to proceed farther.
That sounds good. That would be a further action if the council wants to take further action. I'm in support of that.
So you're asking for the first agenda is just get the report, then you want to consider outside legal advice to see how it was accompanied.
To maybe double check the conflict of interest policies there. I think I personally feel there was a conflict of interest. So
we're getting into discussion of the item now. So I would hold that for then. And
let's put it on the future agenda item, the following, not next meeting, the one following that. I forget what the date is. Apologize for that. May 13th. Let's have a May 13th discussion and see how we want to proceed from there for future agenda. We good with that?
That sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Any other future agenda items from anyone? Seeing none? All right, let's move to M. We're going to adjourn the meeting tonight at 8:54 PM. Mike, for the record, did you get that? 8:54?